I'm Christine Lisi. Bob Myers, the man who helped transform the Warriors into an NBA dynasty, told ESPN's Adrian Wojnarowski he's stepping down as the team's president and GM. Regarding the decision, Myers said it's just time. He added there were several factors beyond money in his decision-making process. The 48-year-old unsure of his future professional pathway. There was one trait in particular that made Myers so unique in his roles at Golden State, explains Woj.
His ability to problem solve, his ability to operate within the egos of coaches and star players and egos of ownership and keep everybody together, keep groups together. Listen, they brought Kevin Durant in, Kevin Durant left, they won 2 titles, and that dynasty continued.
NHL, the Capitals hired Maple Leafs assistant Spencer Carberry as their new coach. Devils assistant Andrew Brunette hired as the new coach of the Predators after they dismissed John Hines. North Carolina transfer Caleb Love, the best player available in the portal, announced his commitment to Arizona. He will start immediately in the Wildcats' backcourt.
It's Wrangler season out there. Open roads, endless horizons. Shop Wrangler.com for new denim styles made for your next adventure. Wrangler, for the ride of life.
This is Matt Moscona.
I'm very important.
After further review.
Say it one more time.
After further review with Matt Moscona.
And here we go.
ESPN Baton Rouge, New Orleans, Alexandria. Live from the Mercedes-Benz of Baton Rouge studios.
That's right.
And welcome in to a Tuesday edition of After Further Review. Musso in for Moscona. Scone out the rest of this week. He will be back on Monday enjoying some R&R, some much-needed vacation for Scone. So I'll be hanging out with you here today, tomorrow, and through the rest of the week. Grant Lanero here as well, and Paul O'Neill. We are back from Memorial Day holiday, much-needed 3-day weekend, much enjoyed 3-day weekend. I'll tell you what, one of the best things about coming back the day from a holiday like that, obviously, number one, you had holiday, right? I mean, you were off, 3-day weekend extended. No one's going to complain about that. But two, there's so much to talk about, and we have a lot to talk about over the next 3 hours. Obviously, plenty of news, LSU baseball, and you know we will get to a lot of that, their regional draw, how the pitching potentially sets up for this weekend in the Baton Rouge Regional. There's an MLB mock draft. Kylie McDaniel from ESPN with his first MLB mock draft of this season, 1.0, and it might ruffle a little bit of feathers around here. So we're going to get into that a little bit later on. Football season never ends. The Saints are back on the practice field today with OTAs. Dennis Allen met with the media after day 4. We'll let you hear a little bit of that later on. And of course, SEC spring meetings, or what they call spring meetings. It's basically summer. They're all in Destin, enjoying the beach, also shaping the future of the conference that you all love so much, and specifically the schedule. We will talk a lot about that. Jacob Hester, of course, of Off the Bench. He is down at SEC meetings in Destin. He will join us at 4 o'clock today. Some boots on the ground reporting from number 18 himself. And one more schedule topic with the conference. CBS today, they announced their windows and the primetime doubleheader and the afternoon morning doubleheader and all of that. How many times might LSU find themselves playing on CBS in the final year of the SEC on CBS? So we have so much to get to here today on Tuesday's AFR, and glad you're along for the ride with me. We're going to start, obviously, though, with LSU baseball. So the Tigers land the number 5 national seed in the country. Yesterday, Selection Monday, you find that out. It's the first time LSU is a top 8 national seed since 2017, which sounds very odd to say, in all honesty, right? I mean, in the middle of Paul Maneri's tenure, it was commonplace. It was guaranteed. 6 straight years, LSU was a top 8 national seed. Took them a little bit to get back there after 2017, but they are. So we all know what that means, right? You win, you host all the way until you go to Omaha. That is the goal you have setting out before the season. You went through, won 42 games, I should say, in the regular season. One more in the conference tournament. You had it locked up. You get it. LSU will play Tulane at 2 p.m. on Friday. Hooray. Another baseball game to go head up against here on AFR. That's got to be about the 10th one this year. It's been been frequent. And then Sam Houston State and Oregon State round out LSU's regional. A quick thumbnail on each team and then some overall thoughts on the draw itself. We'll get to how pitching potentially sets up a little bit later on. That's going to be in the second hour. So want to just specifically focus on the draw. Let's start with Tulane. So every year, it feels like in this tournament, someone gets hot that shouldn't, wins their conference tournament, and gets in, and you have a team with a losing record in the NCAA tournament. This year, it's the Tulane Green Wave. They get sent to Baton Rouge as the 4. And when you look at the other projections and saw the teams that were being bandied about for a 4-seeded LSU, this is your best case scenario. Tulane is. Would you have rather Nichols come back in here after the last time they were at the box? They're on the high. They beat you. They had all those great diving catches. That game was complete and utter chaos. It was a ridiculous baseball game for 9 innings, and have them come in feeling good about themselves? Or would you rather a 19-40 team come in? Look, Tulane has talent. Okay? That program, they're always going to have talent. It's been a rough year, though, under a first-year head coach where they made 3 different trips out to the West Coast, which was brutal, and it hasn't gone great for them. Their longest winning streak on the year was 3 games. Now, they are playing their best stretch of baseball right here. For them to go win 4 out of 5 and win the AAC tournament, that's huge. But I think you all would agree with me. You'd rather have Tulane come in as your 4 than somebody like Nicholls State if you're LSU. So you like that, right? You like the 19-40 team who's going to come in. They're going to play hard, and again, they're playing their best baseball right now. That has to be mentioned, and that matters. But again, if you're weighing options, you feel like you got the better option if you're LSU right there. Let's go Sam Houston State. Sam Houston State, winners of the WAC, potent offense. 3 different players in the Sam Houston State lineup have 50 or more RBI. Potent offense. You've seen them. You know what they are. Saw them in the Carbach Round Rock Classic the second week of the season. And don't forget, they were 2-0 in that tournament before LSU beat them. They had shut out Iowa. They had beaten Kansas State. Good program. We talked back in February about Sam Houston State because Matt was on vacation. He was out. And I was filling in for that whole week leading into that tournament. We talked a lot about Sam Houston State and the potency of that offense, but also they were a team back then that you recognized and said, that's a team that can win their league. They can push Grand Canyon and win that league, and you could potentially see them again. Well, here you go. They're coming in. Potent offense. Told you, they won 5 games, 5 out of 6 in that tournament to win it. They scored double-digit runs in all 5 wins. They put up 20 twice in that tournament. They can swing it. Now, on the other side, the pitching, not great. Oregon State. Boy, LSU and Oregon State just can't seem to quit each other over the last few years in the NCAA tournament. We all remember the 2017 College World Series, the Eric Walker game. He goes down. Oregon State wins 13-1. LSU comes back through the losers bracket behind a great outing from Caleb Gilbert and a great outing from Alex Lang. Beat a phenomenal Oregon State team that I believe had lost 4 games or something absurd like that, 4 or 6 games all year coming into the College World Series. You beat them twice, go to the championship finals. The very next year, LSU is riddled with pitching injuries. They end up getting sent up to Corvallis, have to face a very similar Oregon State team to what you saw in 2017, and they put it on you twice, eliminate you. They go on to win the national championship. This is not Oregon State's first trip down to Baton Rouge for a regional. In 2013, they came down here and had to face that great LSU team led up by Aaron Nola there. Faced them in the Marble game. So it's not a trip that's foreign to that program to come all the way down to Baton Rouge. The interesting thing about them, Oregon State is a top 10 team. So in D1 baseball's final the final week of the regular season, when they released their top 25, Oregon State was number 10. Top 10 team in the country that you have coming in here. And you might say, man, that's a tough part of the draw. Yes. And there are no easy outs, right, with a 2 seed normally. But do this for me. Go look at the 2 seeds around the country this year. It's insane. Y'all, Texas is a 2 seed. Texas was the number 1 overall seed 2 years ago. They hosted again last year. They're a 2 seed this year. ECU, who hosts year in and year out, is a 2 seed this year. Campbell, who got hosed, quite honestly, should have been a top 16, is a 2 seed. Tennessee is a 2 seed. TCU, how often do you see TCU hosting, and if not hosting, a top 8? That's a 2 seed this year. Boston College, who thought they had a great shot, they've been in the top 25 all year long. That's a 2 seed. It's a very stronger than normal. Like I said, there's no easy out with a 2 seed. I mean, normally those teams are right on the cusp of hosting or regional or whatnot. This year it feels more frequent than normal, though. So, yes, it's a tough draw, I guess you'd say, with the 2, but you were going to get a tough draw pretty much regardless with a 2 seed is definitely what it feels like. I mean, Texas Tech, y'all's a 3 seed this year. When I look at Oregon State, one thing jumps out to me. Again, they're very offensive. This is going to be there's going to be a lot of runs scored in the Baton Rouge Regional. I'd be shocked if not. Offensively, one that stands out besides Bazana, I mean, he's awesome. Kid's hitting like 380 for Oregon State. He's great. And Janik as well. They're a bit more powerful than you would think from a West Coast team, and specifically Oregon State. You're going to look at the numbers, see 79 home runs, and say, okay, that doesn't jump off the page. And, okay, that's fair. I get it, right? You got how many teams with hundreds of homers this year? But they have 5 guys with double-digit homers. So the power's more dispersed throughout the lineup for Oregon State this year. That's a little new. The bullpen is a strength of theirs. Starting rotation, maybe not. The ERA, the record, that's not going to jump off the page at you when you look at their starters. And the other interesting thing there is they haven't pitched since the last weekend of the regular season. So Oregon State went 0-2 in the Pac-12 tournament, and neither Jacob Kometz nor Trent Sellers got a start. So their 1-2 did not get a start. That'll be something to keep an eye on. But the bullpen is very, very good. If that's a team that has to come back and beat somebody twice, they might be the most equipped team in this regional to make it through a loser's bracket. So keep that in mind for Oregon State. When I look at this as a whole, I like LSU's draw a lot. You played Tulane. You beat them 11-5. You get them again. You played Sam Houston State. You beat them 16-4. You get them again. That's two of the 3 teams that join you in this regional you have seen, you have beaten. That matters. I like that. I like that an awful lot. When you look at Oregon State, we just went through it, right? Good offensive team, top 10 worthy team in the country, strong 2 seed. But I love that they have to play Sam Houston State and that lineup in game number 1 of the regional, because it stands to reason they're going to have to throw their number 1 in that game, because that lineup is so potent, can be so deadly. And that's what you want. LSU, and we'll get into, all the pitching probability that LSU could have in this series, in this weekend. But I think we all expect Paul Skeens to not pitch game 1 to be your starter in a marble game, provided you beat Tulane and get there. So if you got Oregon State, who has to throw their number 1 against a potent lineup and burn him, you have their number 2 going up against Paul Skeens, a pitcher they have not seen this year. You have to like those odds if you're LSU. So if you go through and you get out of the Baton Rouge Regional, the other thing you always look at for draw is who you're matched up with. And LSU's matched up with Kentucky, the Lexington Regional. And look, y'all, the SEC got 8 hosts. I mean, they set a record. It makes sense that you're going to be paired up with one of the SEC teams. They had no other choice. They were going to have to pair up some of them. But I think if I asked all of you Monday morning before the field was released, if LSU's paired up with an SEC school, who would you like it to be? I would think the majority would have said Kentucky. You think Florida's thrilled about being paired with South Carolina? South Carolina swept Florida and dominated them for 3 games in the regular season. Now, granted, it's a different South Carolina team right now, I know, but you think Florida's jazzed about that? No. You look at Kentucky, and I get all the concern. They've seen Paul Skeens, understandable. Small ball, they run, they put a lot of pressure on defense. LSU's had their defensive problems. Understandable. It happened in the game that you lost to them. But see, that's the other thing. LSU run ruled them in game 1, was a E5 and a drop fly ball in right field away from sweeping Kentucky. So yes, I would rather be paired with them. Now again, Kentucky's good. Don't misunderstand me. but you had great success against their arms. And when the ball was hit to you and you made the play in the series, you won. And you won in different ways. Run rule, and then had to come from behind 1-run victory in the game 3 finale. So I like LSU's draw. I think it sets up well for them. Now you have to go execute, and you have to go win. We've poured over every pitch, every hit, every game, every play from the regular season in the SEC tournament to get to this point where you're 5 wins away from Omaha. This is the season that matters, the postseason. You have a draw in front of you that I think is conducive to you making a run here, but it ain't played on paper. You have to go out and play the games. You have to go out and execute. When LSU's done that, they've been one of the best teams in the country. When they haven't, they've lost some games they shouldn't have lost. So we will see which, if they can go out and execute to the level that we all know they're capable of doing. And if they do, I like the draw enough that I think they can get those 5 wins that they need. We're going to grab a break, come back on the other side, switch gears, talk some SEC football, SEC spring meetings going on in Destin. The schedule, 8 or 9 games. It's a really big topic of conversation and will be for this entire week. We'll talk that next. Jacob Hester at the top of next hour will join the show as well from Destin and give us the lay of the land, some boots on the ground from SEC spring meetings. Stay here. Musso in for Moscona. It's after further review.
AFR.
AFR is brought to you by the Renaissance Hotel and the Watermark Hotel, 2 great locations. If you're downtown or in Southtown, our friends at the Watermark and the Renaissance can certainly help make your next event spectacular, whether it's a wedding or an intimate gathering downtown at the Watermark, Baton Rouge's premier luxury hotel, or if you're at the Renaissance for a board meeting. They have elegant, intimate board meetings for a dozen people, or meeting space for up to 500 people in their spacious ballroom. At the Renaissance, they like to say, we're in the business of saying yes. So if it's annual conferences, award banquets, nonprofit school fundraisers, if you're hosting a sports team, a formal cotillion etiquette classes, they do it all at the Renaissance Hotel right there on Bluebonnet. It's the Renaissance Hotel. You can check them out online for reservations or to get more information. It's the Renaissance and the Watermark downtown and Southtown. Check them out at the Renaissance Hotel.
I've been doing business with Luba for 25 years. They're dependable, trustworthy. It's just the attention to detail with our clients.
Our folks have years and years of experience. They're highly trained professionals, but many companies have that asset. What I'd like to think makes Luba a bit different is that we use those talents in a way that truly is dedicated to serving the needs of the folks who depend on us.
Bayou Ford has $15,000 off plus 0.9% APR for 60 months on all new 22 Ford F-150 SCA trucks and incredible deals on all remaining 2022 inventory, all with Bayou's 1 million mile warranty. The crew at Bayou Ford is going to do right by you.
What's up, y'all? It's that time again. It's heating up. Your boat's getting ready to come out and spend all summer on the water. It's time to take your boat to the next level with front-to-back boat service, where if you want an incredible custom speaker install, it's going to blow people away in the water, that's there for you. You want an HD sonar where you can see the fish under the water before you cast, beat all your friends, that's there for you at front-to-back boat service. So don't put it off. We got the parts in right now. Get them now before they go back on back order. Front-to-back boat service.
Gulf Coast Office Products is a nationally recognized Savin office equipment dealer based right here in Louisiana. Over 100 employees strong, Gulf Coast has the boots on the ground to support all vertical markets, from education, engineering, legal, and finance. With the latest in office technology, from desktop to production segment units, Gulf Coast and Savin have the perfect fit for you. Call 225-756-2644. That's 756-2644 for Gulf Coast Office Products.
There it is, the extra mile. on the border of expected and extraordinary for those willing to go further, like vans customized for work or play, with safety and tech to keep you connected. Supported by a 5-star sales, service, and finance team, and backed by the 1-star you know. So go the extra mile. It's never crowded, because so few have what it takes to go there. Mercedes-Benz Vans.
Gulf Coast Bank and Trust is giving our customers the power to bank anywhere, anytime during this challenging event. And we're right there with you. Our mobile banking app is
After further review with Matt Moscona, ESPN Baton Rouge, New Orleans, Alexandria.
Remind you about South Point Volkswagen, southpointvw.com. New and certified pre-owned in Baton Rouge and online at southpointvw.com. That's southpointvw.com. Get on by, test drive any of their line of vehicles over at South Point. Remember, I tell you all the time, 9 different IIHS top safety picks. It's the highest safety designation a vehicle can get. It's one of the reasons I love driving my Volkswagen is I know every time I put Drew in his car seat and I'm driving, I'm in one of the safest vehicles on the road. Erica drives a Volkswagen. Every time she leaves the house in her car, I know she's driving one of the safest vehicles on the road. And by the way, they're stylish and affordable and fun to drive. It's at South Point Volkswagen. Remember, the all-electric, first electric SUV for everyone, the Volkswagen ID4. You can make your reservation right now at southpointvw.com. It's South Point Volkswagen. What's your direction?
Oh, Southeastern Conference. We love you. But why can't you be normal? Why can't you be normal? It's always something with the SEC, it feels like, and maybe that's because it just means more or whatever tagline you want to throw out there. But sometimes things drag on, and then sometimes things are just argued about ad nauseum for the entire league's existence. And that would be the football schedule for the Southeastern Conference. It'd be real easy to say, man, they've been really trying to find a solution to this for the past couple of seasons. But that's just not true, is it? The SEC schedule, especially in football, has been argued about for years. 8 games, your two out of conference games, and one of them's a cross-divisional rivalry, and you have to protect certain rivalries and do all of that. And now a bigger chink gets thrown in because Texas and Oklahoma are going to join the league, and you're going to do away with divisions. And is it going to go to 9 games? Is it going to stay at 8 games? What happens to all the rivalries? What happens to the revenue? What does it do for the college football playoff? There's so many questions. And it always feels like you come up with more questions than you do answers, and it feels like you're not that close to a resolution. It doesn't mean they're not going to try to find one this week in Destin, and they will. There's a chance they vote on this on Thursday, but is it really going to be the outcome that pleases everybody? No. And look, there's the old saying, right? You can please, some of the people some of the time and all the people, but you can't please all the people all the time. But you know what I mean. And I understand that. But the more you read about this, the more you see the different schools have different gripes with 8 games versus 9 games. So Ross Dellinger at SI has done a great job covering this for a very long time. And I kind of like to defer to Ross's reporting on this a good bit. Not to say that others haven't done a good job as well. Dennis Dodd had a great piece about this at CBS Sports as well. But Ross kind of mentioned the 2 main questions, right, surrounding this heading into the SEC meetings here were, what is the future of the college football playoff expansion when they were deciding about this, and how much additional revenue will ESPN pay to add a 9th game? And again, those questions kind of still linger a year later now as we get here. But I think, let me back up. So Greg Sankey, when he talked about this yesterday to kind of open up SEC meetings, he kind of downplayed the money aspect of this. I think his quote was, money doesn't lead, money follows. And okay, I mean, I get it. I get what he's saying, right? If you're just chasing money, that leads to ill-advised decisions. Sure. 100%. But for certain teams in this league, that is the only thing that matters with this. I mean, look, Kentucky's president is going to say, he's quoted in Ross Dellinger's piece saying, it's very fair to say that it's not just about money. As they focus more on student-athlete well-being, understand the new college football playoff format, that's going to lengthen the season. What are the impacts on a college athlete's body playing a 9-game in this league? Fine. I would also tell you this. Kentucky, while you've had some great years as of late under Coach Stoops, 10 wins, it's been good. Kentucky's not worried about making the college football playoff, y'all. Kentucky's in the bottom half of the league. Kentucky needs more revenue. Okay? For me, again, he can say that, and it can sound good, but in the grand scheme of things, for Kentucky, they're worried about a 9th game costing them bowl eligibility or another loss. You're going to give half the league another loss, basically, if you get a 9th game. So there's basically, if you're in Kentucky's shoes, you're thinking, okay, if I'm going to get saddled with another loss, more often than not, am I going to get compensated for it in this media rights deal? And that's one of the questions. I think when you look at somebody like Georgia, when you look at LSU, Alabama, teams like that, Tennessee, maybe even right now, sure, college football playoff matters. Can a 3-loss SEC team get in? I think depending on year, maybe, but probably not more often than not. 2 losses is really going to be your catalyst there. There's the fact of how do you reschedule everything? You're booked out solid with 4 non-conference games, right? There'd be a lot of rescheduling that has to be done by the SEC if this does go through. But I want to focus in on the money a little bit more. Because I think, again, for half the league, I think that is the driving force, not the college football playoff. Because, again, the bottom half of the league, they're not really worried about that. It doesn't seem like ESPN is gung-ho to giving more revenue for a 9th game. And it's important to note that they are not contractually obligated to under the current media rights deal. ESPN is also, as we know, in the middle of a lot of layoffs. I'm sure many of you have seen that. And they're also involved in bidding for several other deals, other properties, including the 12-team playoff, including the NBA. There's plenty on their plate that they're looking to spend money on. For what it's worth, some within the league believe a 9th league game is worth at least $5 million per school in additional annual revenue. Under the new agreement that'll go into place in 2024 with the SEC and ESPN, each member institution gets $60 million per year. So you're looking at from $60 to $65 million if those estimates are correct. That an extra league game gets you to the $5 billion. And that matters for Kentucky, for Vanderbilt, that sounds like it doesn't matter to, the LSUs of the world. I think LSU's going to take $5 million extra dollars if you're going to give it to them. Y'all, I think we all know that. But it matters more for those teams that most look at and say, yeah, that's where that half of the league where the other loss is going to get hung. It's probably going to be on the Kentuckys and the Vanderbilts and the Missouris and the Mississippi States and of those teams. Where, okay, you lost. It's kind of like the gate receipt, right? For the non-conference team that comes in. Here, take your butt whooping, and here's your gate receipt. Here's your money. In a sense, kind of like that. So what do? Because the other important thing is, it only needs a simple majority, right? It could end up 8-6, and that makes it pass one way or the other. When you listen to Greg Sankey, when you listen to others around the SEC, they seem very much to be in favor of the 9-game model. it would put them on par with the rest of college football outside of the ACC. The ACC still plays 8 games. Right now, it's just the ACC and the SEC that do that. So this would put them more on par with the Big Ten and the Pac-12 and the Big 12. More uniformity. But it doesn't seem like they can get there this year. So there has been a temporary solution that seems to be gaining steam at the SEC meetings. And it's a 1-year, temporary, 8-game conference schedule in 2024. It would be 1 permanent opponent and 7 rotating until they can get with the ESPN again, see what they can do revenue-wise. They get a year in the new college football playoff system. They can see how that works out, how the format works out, how big of an influence a strength of schedule in all of that to see how many teams they can get in. Because that is true, too. They do want to maximize that portion of it as well. Get as many teams. The SEC has never missed the college football playoff. Now, granted, the SEC is not going to miss the college football playoff entirely because they go to a 9-game schedule. I do not believe that. But there's a lot of factors at hand. Also, your rivalries. As crazy as that is, and as much as I know anyone listening to this who's been in that argument for so many years, how we started this segment, is going to roll their eyes at the conference rivalries that need to be preserved and all of that. I understand. But with the 8-game model, that goes away. You don't have Alabama, Tennessee. You don't have LSU, Florida. You don't have LSU, Alabama. You don't have Georgia, Auburn. Like, those all go away. So they're trying to figure out a way to preserve those still, too. And in this temporary model, it would be able to preserve the ones you most want throughout, at least for 1 year until you figure it out. Ross Dellinger in his piece notes, you'd see Florida, Georgia, Alabama, Auburn, the Egg Bowl, LSU, Texas A&M, Tennessee, Vanderbilt, Oklahoma, Texas. That would probably be what you were looking at in this model. And for what it's worth, it feels like this is from, again, Ross Dellinger's article at SI, quoting a high-ranking SEC administrator when asked about the temporary 1-year, 8-game model as a placeholder for the potential 9-gamer, quote, "That's probably what will happen." That's a high-ranking SEC administrator talking to Ross Dellinger saying, quote, "That's probably what will happen. I don't see the desire to go to a 9th game and not have any increase from a revenue standpoint. That's what I think comes out this week unless something dramatic changes." So look, if they vote, they're probably voting on a temporary 1-year, 8-game model so you can get through with ESPN, see if you can get some more revenue out of it, so you can see how things play out in the first year of an expanded college football playoff, and then go from there. I still believe at some point the SEC heads for a 9-game schedule. It just doesn't seem like it's going to be this week. We'll see. Jacob Hester, he's live at SEC spring meetings. Almost said SEC media days. SEC spring meetings. He will join us at the top of next hour, so about 30 minutes from right now. We'll see what was talked about. They had some coaches meet with the meeting today. We'll see what was talked about there regarding this scheduling model. Anything else as well to keep an eye on. It's not just football. I mean, there are topics wide ranging all around the conference that are discussed. So anything really of note, we'll talk with Hester about at 4:00. But definitely get his thought on the latest with the schedule. I mean, it is the fiasco that everybody's watching right now. Kirby Smart earlier today called it the most overrated topic ever. Well, for some, maybe for you, Kirby, but others want their money, man, and I don't blame them. So we'll continue that conversation with Jacob Hester in about 30 minutes from right now. Right now, we're going to grab a break. Come back on the other side. We'll go around the SEC. Today for Around the SEC, want to just kind of look around the NCAA baseball tournament field, how it shook out for the rest of the league. We'll go through that when we return here on AFR.
AFR.
Get Gordon and get it done. Gordon McKernan Injury Attorneys. You know what to do. If you've been injured in an accident and it's not your fault, get Gordon and get it done. Do what injured people in Louisiana have done for more than 3 decades. Let Gordon recover the damages for you, him and his amazing team of attorneys, to make sure that you were treated fairly. Get Gordon and get it done. You can always call if you'd rather talk to somebody, 888-8888, 888-8888, or go to getgordon.com. That's getgordon.com. And yes, obviously, we want people who are listening, who have been injured, who need representation to call Gordon McKernan Injury Attorneys. But I always love telling you also about Gordon the person and about all the great things that Gordon and his firm do in our community. It's Gordon McKernan Injury Attorneys. If you go check out Gordon's social media, would highly recommend, by the way, you follow Gordon on all the social media platforms. You can see Gordon with Port Allen Elementary School on the final day. You can see more about the G team. It's all there. You know what to do. Get Gordon and get it done.
Hey, it's Matt Musso. Join me Monday through Friday for your daily update on LSU baseball with Musso at the Box, presented by New Orleans Flooring. Wherever you get your podcast, Apple, Spotify, Google, and check out New Orleans Flooring. 2 locations, Metairie and Prairieville, or NOLAFlooring.com.
I drove myself to the ER, had heart surgery, and drove myself home 24 hours later, feeling fine. Starting running again after the procedure, I'm getting excited thinking about it. I had no pain, nothing. I felt great. And right then and there, I was like, oh my God, I'm back. I'm back. It's just amazing.
Ochsner Health. Long live you.
The importance of doing this Fortified program and offering it to people down here is, number one, the only real chance you're going to get to do this is when you put on a new roof or build new. And through companies like HUDCO, who's kind of leading the way in this thing, it's going to offer the customers a huge advantage in the insurance market and the price of their insurance.
You know, we're not looking to make a fortune off fortifying. We're trying to give you a better product than our competitor at the moment. I'm trying to do something that he can. I'm trying to give you something better. So a lot of these insurance shops, you're getting a re-roof, you're only paying your deductible. Let's sit down and talk about the Fortified and let's see what it does to your insurance premium. You're getting a steal.
Yeah.
You're getting a brand new roof and a Fortified certificate for your deductible, essentially. And I think we're rocking and rolling.
I've been doing business with Luba for 25 years. They're dependable, trustworthy. It's just the attention to detail with our clients.
Our folks have years and years of experience. They're highly trained professionals, but many companies have that asset. What I'd like to think makes Luba a bit different is that we use those talents in a way that truly is dedicated to serving the needs of the folks who depend on us.
When is a taco more than just a taco? When it's Government Taco. Voted best tacos 3 years in a row by 225 Magazine, Government Taco puts the most delicious spin on tacos the capital area has ever seen. With creative combinations like the Magna Carrot, the Filibuster, or the Steak of the Union. Plus perfect tortilla chips paired with the best salsa and queso you've ever had. And happy hour every day from 3 to 6 p.m. and all day on Thursday. Government Taco, 5621 Government Street.
Electricity is all around us, and our families depend on it. Every day is sparked by the power of a cold drink or a warm meal.
After further review with Matt Moscona, ESPN Baton Rouge, New Orleans, Alexandria.
Brought to you by Shawbills Tire and Auto Service, ShawbillsTire.com. 18 locations in South Louisiana. Find the location nearest you at ShawbillsTire.com. Bumper-to-bumper auto service and name brand tires at wholesale prices. They will always find a way to get you the best possible price for the best possible tires on the road. That's what they do at Shawbills. And when they get you in by selling you the best tires, the cheapest price possible, they're going to treat you like family, and they're going to treat you so good, you're going to keep coming back year after year after year every time you need anything for your vehicle. Tires rotated, oil changed, check engine light on, brakes squeaking, whatever's wrong with your vehicle, bring it to Shawbills. Let them give it the once-over, and you can always schedule online, so it's convenient. ShawbillsTire.com. Find the location nearest you at ShawbillsTire.com. Shop tires online at ShawbillsTire.com. Be sure to ask about the Shawbills credit card as well, because you can save $50 off your first purchase when you use the Shawbills credit card only at Shawbills.
Back here on After Further Review, Tuesday show, Musso filling in for Moscona. Scone back with you on Monday. He's soaking up some sun at the beach. Good show so far. Still plenty to go. Right now, we're going to go around the SEC, talk some NCAA baseball tournament.
Around the SEC, presented by Gulf Coast Office Products, excellence in imaging solutions.
All right. Let's look at the SEC in the NCAA baseball tournament field. It is plentiful. The conference overall got 10 bids into the league, 8 host sites for the SEC. That is a new tournament record for any conference. I mean, they have half the top 16, which is absurd. Florida was the highest seeded SEC team, the number 2 overall national seed after a SEC co-championship, I should say, with Arkansas. The Gators are paired with the 15th national seed, and that is the South Carolina Gamecocks. Looking at Florida's region a little bit, they have probably one of the toughest 3 seeds in the country in Texas Tech, and a UConn club is their 2 seed, who is in, I believe, what is their 6th NCAA tournament in a row. The Arkansas Razorbacks, with co-champions, of course, with Florida Gators, got the number 3 overall national seed and got the Regional of Death, it looks like, as well. Not an easy road for the Hogs. TCU, their 2 seed, that's the Big 12 champion, TCU Horned Frogs, for what it's worth. So you got a conference champion there as your 2 seed. Arizona, who got in off RPI but is playing probably their best baseball of the year, is the 3 seed for Arkansas. A couple Power 5 teams as your 2 and 3. Never an easy road there for the Hogs. Vanderbilt, then you had LSU as the 5 seed. You know that. We went through that in the first segment. Vanderbilt was the 7th overall seed in the country. Good Xavier club there is their 3, and Oregon is their 2. But overall, I think Vanderbilt should come out of that if they keep their pitching. They keep their pitching on the up and up there. Man, I look at Auburn and thought they were a little overseeded. Thought the Auburn Tigers were a little bit overseeded. It'll be interesting to see how they match up with Southern Miss as their 2, but look, at 12, okay, fine. If that's where Auburn belonged in the committee's eyes, that's where Auburn belonged in the committee's eyes. I think it's a little high. Then you had Kentucky. We talked about them. They're paired up with the LSU Regional. Couple Power 5s for Kentucky as well. Indiana, who was leading the Big Ten for the majority of the year before kind of getting passed up there, is their 3 seed. And West Virginia, who competed really well for the Big 12 and has a Golden Spike candidate in J.J. Weatherholt, is the 2. So not a guarantee that Kentucky comes out of their own regional, but they got the host. And great season for Nick Migione and crew. They overachieved, definitely, in the eyes of many, and me included in that. Man, and you know what? I said Auburn. I felt Auburn was overseeded. Alabama's underseeded. The Alabama Crimson Tide at the 16th national seed is ridiculous. Projections had them as high as 10 going into Selection Monday, and they find themselves 16. Interesting regional for them. I like Bama to come out of it, though. I really do. Boston College is going to be a challenge. I think the Eagles thought they had a great chance to host and didn't. If they come out of that, they have to go travel to Wake Forest. But I'm going to tell you this. Alabama's a hell of an offensive club, and that's a very offensive ballpark in Winston-Salem. It's a high school field, if we're being honest. And if Bama does make it out and get there, they have a chance to score a lot of runs against Wake Forest. And then South Carolina, that's your 8th one. We told you they were paired with Florida. They should come out of their regional. Campbell's interesting, but they should come out of their regional. And the other 2, Tennessee, they're a 2 seed, and they are head to Conway, South Carolina, I thought, or no, they're not. Where is Tennessee? I'm looking for them on this here graphic. Clemson, South Carolina, instead of Conway, South Carolina. Knew it was South Carolina. So the Vols are heading to Clemson. That's an interesting regional in its own right. Eric Bakich has done wonders with Clemson. Tale of 2 seasons for them. I actually like Clemson to come out of that regional. Tennessee has not played well away from home. They have a grand total of 5 wins away from Lindsey Nelson this year. That's neutral site and true road games. Until they prove that they can actually play away from home, I will take Clemson to come out of their own regional. And then Texas A&M is your final team in the field for the SEC, and they get the LSU treatment. They go out west. They are heading to Stanford. That's going to be a very tough one for them to come out of, but not impossible. The Aggies are playing very good baseball right now, as you saw in the SEC tournament, specifically on the mound. So keep an eye on them. A lot of people pegging Texas A&M as a dark horse for Omaha. I don't hate that. I would have told you before the draw came out, Alabama would have been my pick for that out of the SEC. Having to go through Wake Forest is tough, but I think you do get that matchup. Alabama can put up a lot of runs. So I would say either Alabama, even though they have to go through the number 1 seed potentially, and Texas A&M, dark horses for Omaha out of the SEC. So there you have it. That is your breakdown there of the field, the bracket, 64 teams, 10 of them from the Southeastern Conference, half the hosts from the SEC, half the national seeds from the SEC. It just maintains its grip, its death grip on college baseball. That's around the SEC. It's brought to you by Gulf Coast Office Products. Trey Beal and those guys bring you that segment every single day here on After Further Review. All right, we have one segment to go here in the first hour of the show. Musso filling in for Moscona. The NBA Finals, they are set. A quick thumbnail on that to close out hour number 1 of After Further Review. Jacob Hester still to come at the top of next hour, live from the SEC spring meetings. Get the latest on the debate surrounding the schedule. Did you hear anything interesting from the head coaches meeting, and just kind of ear to ground? What's the word there surrounding all the happenings with the Southeastern Conference? And is there a weird vibe with Texas and Oklahoma actually being present this year? We'll talk to Hess about that next. At the top of the 4 o'clock hours, I should say. Grab a break right now, though. Come back and wrap it up with a thumbnail on the NBA Finals. It's After Further Review on a Tuesday. Stay here.
AFR.
AFR is brought to you by Pluckers, Nicholson, and Bluebonnet. Dine in or carry out 28 flavors of award-winning jumbo chicken wings, ice-cold draft beer, full-service bar, sports on TV. My goodness, there's something going on at Pluckers every night of the week. What more could you possibly want? How about sandwiches? Well, they've got those. What about salads? Pluckers actually has really underrated salads. Giant, gorgeous, fresh salads. You can actually eat healthy at Pluckers. Or you could just binge. Award-winning jumbo chicken wings tossed in your favorite sauce. You want to create your own menu item? Do it. They encourage the creativity. Great sides as well, like the cheese fries, the El Guapo dip, maybe the homemade blue cheese potato chips, holy macaroni, fried pickles. They got it all at Pluckers. Nicholson, just south of campus. Bluebonnet right in front of the Mall of Louisiana. The best place to watch the game, which game? Any game, is at Pluckers, because you can eat wings, drink beer, and watch sports on TV. Remember, at Pluckers, if you don't like our wings, we'll give you the bird.
There it is, the extra mile, on the border of expected and extraordinary, for those willing to go further, like vans customized for work or play, with safety and tech to keep you connected, supported by a 5-star sales, service, and finance team, and backed by the 1-star you know. So go the extra mile. It's never crowded, because so few have what it takes to go there. Mercedes-Benz Vans.
Hey, what's up, y'all? It's that time again. It's heating up. Your boat's getting ready to come out and spend all summer on the water. It's time to take your boat to the next level with front-to-back boat service, where if you want an incredible custom speaker install, it's going to blow people away in the water, that's there for you. You want an HD sonar where you can see the fish under the water before you cast, beat all your friends, that's there for you at front-to-back boat service. So don't put it off. We got the parts in right now. Get them now before they go back on back order. Front-to-back boat service.
Bayou Chrysler Dodge Jeep Ram has $20,000 off new 22 Ram 1500 SCA trucks and incredible deals on all remaining 2022 inventory, all with Bayou's 1 million mile warranty. The crew at Bayou Automotive is going to do right by you.
Hello, Samantha, dear, I hope you're feeling fine. And it won't be long until I'm with you all the time. But until then, I spend my money up right down on my last dime. Come on, in Baton Rouge. I'm ready, what you put me on through. Gotta send my love down to
Hey there, little buddy. What's the matter?
What's the matter? My windows, siding, and my door. That's what's the matter.
Relief Windows can fix all of that. I got you. Pop, pop. What's up?
Oh my gosh, look!
Curb appeal. That's a good-looking neighborhood. ReliefWindows.com.
Gulf Coast Office Products is a nationally recognized Savin office equipment dealer based right here in Louisiana. Over 100 employees strong, Gulf Coast has the boots on the ground to support all vertical markets from education, engineering, legal, and finance. With the latest in office technology from desktop to production segment units, Gulf Coast and Savin have the perfect fit for you. Call 225-756-2644. That's 756-2644 for Gulf Coast Office Products.
There it is, the extra mile, on the border of expected and extraordinary, for those willing to go further, like Vans.
After further review with Matt Moscona, ESPN Baton Rouge, New Orleans, Alexandria.
So, the NBA Finals are set. I'm not going to spend a bunch of time on this, but I did want to say a couple things. Obviously, the Heat went to Boston last night, beat the Celtics, ended the Celtics' historic run of potentially being the first team to come back all the way back from a 3-0 deficit. Didn't happen. Jason Tatum got hurt right very beginning of the game, was probably 70% or some odd the rest of the way. And the Celtics bricked a bunch of threes, and the Heat dominated the game and won. I don't really care about that. It's more of a question. Are you more inclined to watch the NBA Finals this year now, given that it is Nuggets Heat and not just kind of the same old that we've seen so much through the last decade or so in the NBA, right? There is no LeBron in there. You had the shot at Lakers-Celtics, which is a matchup everyone's seen ad nauseum. That's not going to happen. There's no Golden State. I thought the Bucks were a great thing. To watch a small market team win it behind their star, that was awesome a few years ago. Last year was more of the traditional where you had Steph Curry, you had Golden State, and they're facing the Boston Celtics, who were just, arguably the most storied franchise in NBA history. Now you have Nuggets Heat. For me, I'm more inclined to watch this version of the NBA Finals than I would have ever been Lakers Celtics, or if Golden State made it through and they're facing, the Celtics again for the second year in a row. I think parity is a great thing, and the NBA's kind of struggled with that, and this obviously the super team and all of that's a part of it. But Denver, while they might not technically be small market, totally small market, they have that feel to them. I'd love to see them get it done. I'd love to see Miami do it for Eric Spoelstra. I mean, Eric Spoelstra is one of the best coaches in the NBA. He's awesome. I mean, he started out as like a data analyst or something like that with the Heat and has worked his way up to head coach. That's an awesome story. And he's a great head coach. He's one of the best coaches, not only in the NBA, but probably in the history of the NBA. But I wonder if he really gets credit for that until he wins one without LeBron, D-Wade, and Chris Bosh. They were a game away from going to the finals last year. They are in the finals this year. I think that'd be a great story to see. You obviously have the brawl that ensued between these two teams in the regular season. That'll be a storyline. Jokic going for his first. Jamal Murray's a great player. They play a great two-man game, those two. I find it a lot more interesting having Denver facing Miami. Look, it's not going to probably do the numbers that LA Boston would have, but whatever. I think for more of the casual fan, you're more inclined to watch, and maybe that sounds weird because you think, okay, the casual's going to watch LeBron, the casual's going to do that. But man, it's just, I don't know, to me, I like the novelty of it in a sense, if that makes, maybe that's not the right word, but you get what I mean. I don't need to see Steph Curry in the finals anymore. I don't need to see LeBron James in the finals anymore. I don't need to see the Boston Celtics in the final anymore. I don't care. Give me the fresh blood. Give me the young stars in the NBA. Give me Jimmy Butler. Give me Jokic. Give me Jamal Murray on the biggest stage for a series to decide it all. Give me that. I'm here for that way more than I would have been any other thing. So I'm actually interested. That being said, I think the Nuggets boat race them and probably win it in 5. I think Jokic and Murray are unstoppable. I don't think anybody has an answer for Joker anyway. So that's kind of the way I see it going. But I'll be more locked into that than I ever would have been Lakers Celtics, Warriors Celtics, or whatever. And maybe that makes me the outlier. Maybe the casual is a lot more interested in the brands. I think obviously the numbers would support that. But for me, nah. I'll take Nuggets Heat. That'll get underway this week, obviously, in Otter. Otter will be with us for Otter Locks all throughout this week, and no doubt he'll have some plays for us on the NBA Finals as those are set to get underway again this week. All right, we're going to grab a break. Come back on the other side. We're heading to Destin, SEC spring meetings. Jacob Hester from Off the Bench. He is there doing some boots on the ground for a serious show, but he's going to give us some boots on the ground here when we come back on After Further Review. What's he hearing the latest with the schedule and just everything else going around Destin. That's next on AFR Hour 2.
AFR.
Remind you about Mold Zero USA, mold-0usa.com, mold-0usa.com. Tell you every day, kill mold, remove odor, kill dozens of other pathogens. Mold Zero USA. They'll always give you that free estimate. If you want to learn more about the process, I get it. It's different. You have mold people usually are thinking, now we got to cut sheetrock. It's going to be messy. It's going to be intrusive. Nah, with Mold Zero. They come in, they spray their patented non-toxic dry fog treatment. It's easy. It's all hooked up to a truck, all the hoses and everything. They'll pull up, they'll walk in, they'll spray the whole house. The fog will touch everything in the house. You let it dwell. It'll kill the mold, the spores, all of it. And then you just wait for the fog to dissipate. You go right back in your home, your mold-free, clean-smelling home. You want to learn more about the process? Little or no demolition required. You want to learn more what the Army Corps of Engineers has to say? It's all there. mold-0usa.com.
Relentless reporting gets results.
I'm never going to stop until we get the answers you need.
Uncovering more as the powerful try to cover things up.
What happens in the dark will always come to light.
Founding new principles and practices for the state of Louisiana.
Chief Investigative Reporter Chris Nakamoto.
Chris Nakamoto and the Investigative Unit. Recipients of Columbia University's prestigious DuPont Award.
Gulf Coast Bank and Trust is giving our customers the power to bank anywhere, anytime during this challenging event. And we're right there with you. Our mobile banking app is a smart way to manage your money and time. Gulf Coast Bank and Trust, the bank that cares about you.
Bayou Ford has $15,000 off plus 0.9% APR for 60 months on all new 22 Ford F-150 SCA trucks and incredible deals on all remaining 2022 inventory, all with Bayou's 1 million mile warranty. The crew at Bayou Ford is going to do right by you.
Turn my music high, 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 yeah.
You don't know what you're doing.
Sure I do. I'm from the streets where the hood swallow on me. Bullets will follow on me. There's so much that you can run the slalom. The cops comb this top to bottom. They say that we are prone to violence, but it's home sweet home. With personalities clash and chrome meets chrome. Prices up and down like this Wall Street.
I've been doing business with Luba for 25 years. They're dependable, trustworthy. It's just the attention to detail with our clients.
Our folks have years and years of experience. They're highly trained professionals, but many companies have that asset. What I'd like to think makes Luba a bit different is that we use those talents in a way that truly is dedicated to serving the needs of the folks who depend on us.
When is a taco more than just a taco? When it's Government Taco. Voted best tacos 3 years in a row by 225 Magazine, Government Taco puts the most delicious spin on tacos the capital area has ever seen. With creative combinations like the Magna Carrot, the Filibuster, or the Steak of the Union. Plus perfect tortilla chips paired with the best salsa and queso you've ever had. And happy hour every day from 3 to 6 p.m. and all day on Thursday. Government Taco, 5621 Government Street.
Hey there, little buddy. What's the matter?
What's the matter? My windows, siding, and my door. That's what's the matter.
Relief Windows can fix all of that. I got you. Pop, pop. What's up?
Oh my gosh, look!
Curb appeal. That's a good-looking neighborhood. ReliefWindows.com.
Sports Center.
I'm Christine Lisi. Saying it's just time, Bob Myers is stepping down as president and GM of the Warriors. He explained his decision-making process included several factors beyond money. The 48-year-old, a two-time executive of the year and architect of 4 NBA championships with Golden State, unsure of his future professional pathway. With the Warriors facing salary and luxury tax issues, Myers' successor needs to be creative so the team stays a title contender. ESPN NBA analyst Tim Legler.
For Golden State, maybe this is something that could give them a fresh look in terms of somebody having a different perspective on what they can do to try to continue this championship window, because I don't think it's closed yet. I think as long as Steph Curry is operating at the level that he is, you're still in the championship window, but it's going to take a lot of creativity on how you rebuild the rest of the roster.
Tim Legler on Fitz and Harry. Texas hiring former Wisconsin and Pitt football coach Paul Chryst as a special assistant to head coach Steve Sarkisian. Longtime college and NFL defensive coach Bill McGovern, who worked as UCLA's defensive coordinator last season, died after being diagnosed with cancer. He was 60 years old.
It's Wrangler season out there. Open roads, endless horizons. Shop Wrangler.com for new denim styles, made for your next adventure. Wrangler, for the ride of life.
Matt Moscona.
I'm very important.
After further review.
Say it one more time.
After further review with Matt Moscona.
And here we go.
ESPN Baton Rouge, New Orleans, Alexandria. Live from the Mercedes-Benz of Baton Rouge studios.
That's right.
Hour number 2, after further review, Musso in for Moscona, Grant Lanero, Paul O'Neill along for the ride as well. We're going to head to Destin here momentarily, check in with Jacob Hester around SEC spring meetings, the latest on what's been going on with the schedule talk, 8-9 games, however many it may be. But before we hook up with Hester, have y'all seen the craziness surrounding the Las Vegas Raiders and their quarterback spot the last few days? So, apparently there's no guarantee that Jimmy G is going to play for the Las Vegas Raiders. And because of that, a certain GOAT, his name has come up plenty in potentially playing quarterback for the Las Vegas Raiders. Jimmy G and the foot injury ended up having surgery after he was signed in the legal tampering period, when they agreed to terms in the legal tampering period. He had his press conference and everything. It was sight unseen, the contract deal between Garoppolo and the Raiders. There's a chance his signing bonus could be void. There was a waiver. He signed a waiver. Instead of a physical, signed a waiver for the foot injury, to where basically they can just be like, no. Like an $11 million plus signing bonus can go by the wayside. All of that if he's not ready to go. He has not set foot on the field for OTAs. Mandatory minicamp, not a possibility. Josh McDaniels is saying probably at the earliest training camp. We've got to sit here and go through, get familiar with his receivers, do all that. Oh, by the way, Brian Hoyer and Aiden O'Connell are their other options. So a lot of people have asked, could Brady be the guy? And oh, by the way, Brady, as you might know, has put up an ownership, bid to buy a piece of the Raiders. And that makes this whole thing way more complicated. So Brady's purchase, or partial purchase of the Raiders, has not been approved yet. It needs to go through all 32 owners. And there is a report from the Vegas Review-Journal that if it goes through, there's probably a clause in there that Brady would have to agree to never play again. And if he were to be approved for ownership and want to come out, that would also need a league vote. It doesn't seem possible. The only way it seems possible that Brady could do this is if his partial purchase of the Raiders does not go through. Because they're either going to make him say, you got to vow to never play again, or it has to go through all 32 owners and be approved, and there's no way that would happen. There's precedent in the league for this. In 2009, the Eagles tried to hire Matt Nagy, who was on their staff, and it got shut down. You remember the no quarterback COVID game for the Broncos. It was against the Saints. They wanted to have two assistants signed to assistants so they could play, and the league shut it down. No. So the only way that this is possible, it looks like, is if for some reason his partial purchase of the Raiders doesn't go through. There's plenty of reasons why. It could help them, get away from the salary cap. Obviously, he would have been in meetings and things of that nature, and it wouldn't take him very long to get adjusted, get acclimated to personnel, to play calling, to all of that within the offense, because he would know it as the owner. I mean, he'd be able to be in all that. So there's plenty of reasons why, but just something to keep an eye on there. I think you really start to get serious about it if for some reason the purchase doesn't go through, but it absolutely it absolutely should go through. Just something interesting to keep an eye on there. I saw that today, and I was just like, the whole situation's wild. From Jimmy G's contract and a waiver instead of a physical. Like, y'all, his agent Don Yee is a animal for that. Like, how can that even? And I get it with the legal tampering period. There's a lot of sight unseen about it, but golly, obviously this is an extreme example, but think about Foster Moreau, like the implications that can just have on someone's personal health. And there's waiver instead of a physical. The other thing about this, it shows you just how crazy the whole Miami Dolphins tampering thing was with Tom Brady, right? To where maybe he wanted to buy a stake in that team and they wanted him to be their quarterback and things of that nature. And would something like that ever work? Maybe not so much, but it definitely is a possibility, or at least it was something they explored for sure. And now the Raiders, maybe they're preaching that it's all good, but we'll see. Brady in Vegas, huh? And it's also important to note too that there's been flirtation with those two before, Brady and Las Vegas. So not necessarily unprecedented territory, but again, if that purchase goes through, if his partial purchase goes through, there's no chance of that happening. Maybe it's decision time for old Tommy, right? He needs to either decide, do I want to play quarterback? Do I want to own the team? Do I want to go do TV? And we'll have to wait and see. I don't think you see him back on a football field, though. I don't. All right, let's head to Destin. Find Jacob Hester from Off the Bench. He's there doing some boots on the ground for SiriusXM, and now boots on the ground for us here at ESPN Baton Rouge. Jake, we appreciate it. How's Destin?
It is great. I apologize. We were actually catching up with A&M Athletic Director Ross Bjork when y'all called, and so we went a little bit long. I didn't know this about Ross. He played fullback at the Division II level, so you know me.
Oh, no.
Once I found out he was a fullback, like it was the whole deal. Too gritty to be pretty, and we just said low man wins like 100 times, and so I do apologize.
So now you're boys with Ross Bjork. That's the only thing I've gathered from really all of that is y'all are boys now.
Look, there's a certain level of grit there. I mean, it's still, I know where he's the athletic director at, so I understand that. So, we can't fully go over maybe to that, but we can appreciate the grit.
It's okay. We will not tell Hunt Palmer. We will not tell Hunt Palmer that you're
don't tell T-Bob either.
Yeah.
He won't like it.
All right. Look, so there's always a bunch of different things going on at SEC spring meetings, but there's always one topic that shoots up to the top that steals all the headlines, and that's the schedule. And 9 games, 8 games, temporary 8 games. Ooh, what's really the main focus so far with that? What have you been hearing here on day one?
Yeah, so the 8 games obviously is not only growing legs, it feels like it's going to be the option. And it's a little bit of a change of what we thought. I think we all assumed it was going to be 9 games. When you add 16 teams together, you feel like 9 games is the right way. But you said it right there. I think, on a temporary basis, it might be 8 games. I don't know how long that lasts. But, look, as much as I wanted 9 conference games, because I still think it's the right model, he has 6 rotating opponents and he has a 3 permanent, I'll take, something different than what we currently have. And y'all know this. Like, you can't go 2007 till 2021 without going to Lexington. That's a team in your own conference. You can't go that long. That makes no sense. Even like when you look at LSU, they still would not have made a trip to Como if it wasn't for the pandemic. They've been in the league for over a decade. So, like, those things had to go away. So I'm glad those things are going away, but I'm always for more conference games. Now it's going to be, if you go to the 8 conference games with the 1 permanent opponent, 7 rotating, there's going to be some people that are upset. I mean, there's some rivalry games that people enjoy, and they consider that, maybe their main rival. Like when you look at Georgia, they're not going to pick Auburn. They're going to pick Florida. Well, they've played Auburn, South's oldest rivalry. Like, that's going to go away. A game that's near and dear to a lot of LSU fans, the LSU-Florida game, that's probably going to go away on an every-year basis. Now, you're going to get it every other year, but you're not going to get the Swamp every other year. You're not going to get Tiger Stadium for those fans every other year. So it's a give and take. I'll take this over what we currently have, but I would prefer the other model.
So let me ask you this, because I'm with you. 9 games, and it feels like most kind of in the conference, at least kind of higher up, tend to feel 9 games as well. But when you have the pushback, there's a couple different reasons people mention. Obviously, first and foremost, revenue from ESPN is one. I know what Greg Sankey said yesterday, that money doesn't lead, money follows, or whatnot. Okay, sure. And then there's the college football playoff, and that extending the schedule. Do you really want to add another conference game for these players to have to go through in this brutal of a league? Which one do you think carries more weight, the money or the schedule?
I mean, gosh, it just feels like money drives everything. Now, the SEC is not hurting for money, but it feels like it's got to play some part in it. And I do think there is some truth to adding another game that's going to be a physical game. It's going to be tough on your body, all of that, knowing that you're probably going to play extra games with the expanded playoff. But also the extra games are going to probably help you get in the expanded playoff, right? Because if you go 9-3 in the SEC, overall record, and you play some of the dogs that are in the SEC, like, your resume is going to be one that probably gets you in the playoff most years. And so, I know that's going to be an argument. I know there's some teams at the bottom of the league that don't want to add another conference game, and they point back most to the pandemic year when you had all SEC games, right? You look at a Kentucky. Well, Kentucky's been really good. That was their one bad year when they played all SEC games. And so it's not going to be as easy for every program to go in there. Some of the teams that opposed it outside of Alabama, they've been teams that are usually in the middle or bottom end of the SEC. So for those schools, the last thing they want to do is add another very difficult game to their schedule. So it's a little all over the place. Nobody is really going to agree. You're not going to have like a majority agree. I think it's 5 schools that have opposed it. You got a couple that I don't know that they care one way or the other, but it's going to be interesting to see which one wins out, because I just didn't hear 8 games. You didn't hear that until about 10 days ago when Deli broke that news, and now it's all you hear.
So, ear to ground there, being there, does it sound like they are actually going to vote on this on Thursday?
It's got to feel that we'll have an answer. Now, you never know once you get in those closed-door meetings, and they're talking about other things. They're talking about what does college football look like down the road? What do college athletics look like down the road? What's going to happen with legislation, and where do we go in the transfer portal? Those are real conversations, and football's not the only scheduling issue. Basketball, do you go to 20 conference games? And so, obviously, the first time Texas and Oklahoma are represented here as well. Now they have no voting power right now this year, but they're here, they're in these meetings, and so that's intriguing as well. But there's other things besides football scheduling. I think football scheduling is the one that grabs the headlines. It's the one that most of us are talking about because it's football. Football drives the bus. We all know that, but there is a lot of things going on right now. So if there wasn't a vote, I think it would be because of the other things that they're talking about, not necessarily because of it being that big of an issue.
A couple more for you, Jake, before I let you go. To that point, outside of the scheduling, what are you kind of most interested to see what they decide on a certain issue there this year, this week in Destin?
Yeah, I think it's just the things that we talk about every single day with NIL, with transfer portal. Mm-hmm. Does the SEC, say, hey, we're going to be out in front of this and we're going to do A, B, or C? These coaches, man, in the schedule, the calendar too. Like that's something that needs to be worked out. These coaches are tired. Like when you look at them and everything they're doing, think about this. Like these football coaches here in Destin, they've got a new freshman class that either yesterday, today, or tomorrow will be the first time that they see them, welcome them to campus. They go to class. Recruiting is still open until tomorrow. So they have official visits that are literally on their campus right now. We've had coaches say, yeah, I Zoomed the new class or I Zoomed the official visit, but we have to be here. They're trying to recruit, figure out what's going to be the future of the SEC. Like, let them breathe. Like, let them come. And I know, look, they make a lot of money. They do. But also, like, you could help them out with the calendar. You could, hey, we're going to recruit till here. You can, we're going to push SEC spring meetings maybe back 3 days so you can welcome the new students to the campus that they're going to be hopefully for the next 4 or 5 years. And so scheduling for these coaches, and not just football, but mainly football when you look at it, it's got to be tweaked. You got to give these coaches a little bit of a break.
It's crazy, man. It just never stops, right? I mean, I can remember the same conversation happening with the early signing period and whatnot, and how it impacted the schedules and the coaches' schedules and things of that nature. You don't really think about that when it comes to something like this. But I mean, heck, and then what? A month later, they're at SEC Media Days too. So it's it's a grind. It's a grind that never stops. Jake, we appreciate it. Enjoy Destin, and hopefully we'll catch up again later this week.
We will, but Moose, give me a temperature of the regional. How we feeling? Like, give me the breakdown, like the quick, 30-second preview here.
Yeah, no, man, we're feeling good. Actually, I like the draw a lot. You've seen and beaten two of the teams in your regional. I think if I said this in the first segment, I think if I would have asked everybody Monday morning, hey, you got 8 SEC hosts, you're probably gonna be paired with one of them. Which one would you want? I think Kentucky would have probably been everybody's answer. Like, would you rather be paired up with South Carolina or Alabama or somebody like that? No, yeah. I'd rather Kentucky. So I feel pretty good, man. I think they'll hold Skeens, and I think it sets. They need 5 wins. Can they get? They got 43 on the year. Can you get 5 more? Get to Omaha, see if you can make your run. I'm feeling good.
All right, that's all I need to hear. Because if Moose gives it his, approval stamp, I'll take it.
All right, consider it stamped. It is approved. It is approved. All right, Jake, we appreciate it, man.
All right, talk to you later in the week.
Absolutely. That is Jacob Hester, of course, off the bench on the morning there with T-Bob, is 7 to 10 here on ESPN Baton Rouge, New Orleans, and Alexandria, and of course up in the Port City where Hester is from as well. And we'll check in with Jake a little bit later on in the week as well. Kind of recap some of the things we talked about. If they moved along schedule, man, it does. It steals the headlines, obviously, but he's right. There's other things. The field storming proposal is being talked about a lot this week in Destin as well. So, and court storming, I guess you could say too. So a lot of different topics there. We'll check back in with Jake a little bit later on. Okay, he mentioned the regional. We're going to get back to the Baton Rouge regional on the other side of this break. How might Jay Johnson and LSU set up the pitching staff? They need 5 wins to get to Omaha. 3 of them should come this weekend if they get there. That's next on AFR.
AFR.
AFR is brought to you by Rouse's, the official supermarket of the New Orleans Saints. Rouses.com, Rouses.com. Remember, you can always get to the Rouse's website or download the Rouse's app. Highly recommend the app as well, because when you get the Rouse's app, you can always do curbside to go and pickup options, delivery and pickup options. So you get the Rouse's app and you select your groceries, your personal shopper. We'll go pick them out for you. Pull up into one of the designated spots. They bring them out to you. It's so easy. Hey, look, gifts for grads. A lot of you see the graduation pictures everywhere. If you need that graduation card to go with the cash you're sending to the grad, or if you need that cake for the grad, they got it. Or Rouse's gift cards are a great option for grads as well. They're going to be moving out on their own for the first time. Why not give them a Rouse's gift card so they can buy their own groceries with that Rouse's gift card, help them get a jump start. It's at Rouse's, the official supermarket of the New Orleans Saints.
There it is, the extra mile, on the border of expected and extraordinary for those willing to go further, like vans customized for work or play, with safety and tech to keep you connected, supported by a 5-star sales, service, and finance team, and backed by the 1-star you know. So go the extra mile. It's never crowded, because so few have what it takes to go there. Mercedes-Benz Vans.
I've been doing business with Luba for 25 years. They're dependable, trustworthy. It's just the attention to detail with our clients.
Our folks have years and years of experience. They're highly trained professionals. But many companies have that asset. What I'd like to think makes Luba a bit different is that we use those talents in a way that truly is dedicated to serving the needs of the folks who depend on us.
Gulf Coast Office Products is a nationally recognized Savin office equipment dealer based right here in Louisiana. Over 100 employees strong, Gulf Coast has the boots on the ground to support all vertical markets from education, engineering, legal, and finance. With the latest in office technology from desktop to production segment units, Gulf Coast and Savin have the perfect fit for you. Call 225-756-2644. That's 756-2644 for Gulf Coast Office Products.
Hey, what's up, y'all? It's that time again. It's heating up. Your boat's getting ready to come out and spend all summer on the water. It's time to take your boat to the next level with front-to-back boat service, where if you want an incredible custom speaker install, it's going to blow people away in the water, that's there for you. You want an HD sonar where you can see the fish under the water before you cast, beat all your friends, that's there for you at front-to-back boat service. So don't put it off. We got the parts in right now. Get them now before they go back on back order. Front-to-back boat service.
When is a taco more than just a taco? When it's Government Taco. Voted best tacos 3 years in a row by 225 Magazine, Government Taco puts the most delicious spin on tacos the capital area has ever seen. With creative combinations like the Magna Carrot, the Filibuster, or the Steak of the Union. Plus perfect tortilla chips paired with the best salsa and queso you've ever had. And happy hour every day from 3 to 6 p.m.
After further review with Matt Moscona, ESPN Baton Rouge, New Orleans, Alexandria.
Brought to you about Traction, TractionSports.com, TractionSports.com. Hey, summer's here. The kids are out of school now, and you got to be thinking, what are we going to do this summer? How about the Traction Summer Baseball League? Registration open right now. They start June the 5th. That's a week from Monday. So, Traction Summer Baseball League. Practice one night a week, game one night a week. That's Mondays and Fridays this summer. Also, Traction Summer Baseball Camps. Registration's open right now. You've got full and half-day options for 8 weeks throughout the summer. You can do, again, full or half-day options, 5 days at a time, week at a time. You want to pick and choose, 1 week here, 1 week there, 2 weeks, whatever. You can do it. Registration right now, open at TractionSports.com. TractionSports.com, where champions are made. This summer, you need your kids to go to camp. Traction's got you covered. TractionSports.com.
Back here after further review on a Tuesday. Musso sitting in for Moscona. Let's switch gears back to the Baton Rouge Regional, back to LSU baseball in the NCAA tournament. So, this is a conversation we have every single year around this time. And it has to do with how LSU or how teams set up their pitching for this weekend. And when you're the 1 seed, you're normally in the position to hold your ace, go at it against the 4 seed, have your ace ready to pitch the marble game. When you're one of the 2 or the 3, normally you need to win that game, right? You go back to 2021, LSU's the 3 seed in Eugene. Well, they had to throw Landon Marceau that night in that game. Last year, LSU's the 2 seed in Hattiesburg. They threw Mikhail Hilliard, who had been your number 1, your Friday night guy all year long. LSU ain't in that position this year, guys. But even so, there's 3 ways I think you can handle this. And I think one way is clearly better than the other. The first way LSU could go about this, and Admittedly, this is the one that gets weird, right? This is the one where if you really want to get crazy, you can do this. And that's treat Friday like a midweek game. Start Javen Coleman. Let him get you 9 outs. See if you can't pitch Riley Cooper, because, I mean, you could throw Riley Cooper in that game, and then he can turn around and throw the next day, too. He just, rubber arm. We know what he is. And you could piece it together for that. Put a lot of faith in your offense that they're going to go ahead and score a lot of runs, and you be up, and you can go through it that way. And then if you do that, you'd have Paul Skeens for a marble game. You could start Ty Floyd in the championship game, potentially have Thatcher Hurd to come in and close out that championship game, or if by some chance you lose behind Floyd, you could have him ready to start a Game 7, a winner-take-all. There's options there. That is one way you could handle it. Again, to me, that's the most wacky way and probably the most unlikely way. The other two options aren't that much different from each other. LSU could start Ty Floyd on Friday, and I don't think many people would be upset about that. It'd make a lot of sense. Last time Ty pitched was last Friday in the SEC tournament. So, I mean, he'd be on complete full rest, no doubt. Ty's been great the last real month of the season. Throw out the Alabama start. But outside of that, he's been really good. It makes sense. You still get to hold Paul Skeens. You'd have Thatcher Hurd potentially available to start a winner-take-all. Or, excuse me, a championship game, I should say. Not winner-take-all, championship game. Makes sense. But for me, that's not the best way to do it. For me, the best option is what you saw in the SEC tournament last week. Start Thatcher Hurd Friday, hold Paul Skeens for Saturday, and have Ty Floyd ready to go for Sunday. I can't imagine them setting it up in the SEC tournament the way they did was by coincidence. I just can't. Now, look, Jay Johnson, he ain't going to tell you. I mean, he made that clear Monday, right? From this point forward in the postseason, no talk about starting pitchers, no talk about injuries. That's the same policy he had last year. He's going to have it this year. He's going to have it for his ever long many years that Jay Johnson is the head coach at LSU. That's going to be the policy when you get to this point in the season. But what eventually we will learn is his tendencies. And if what he does in the SEC tournament can lend credence. This will be the greatest test of that. Again, I can't imagine that was coincidence. Them doing it that way. All we've heard from Jay Johnson throughout the year and even before the year about Thatcher Hurd needing to pitch in big moments for LSU, pitch in big games if they're going to get to where they want to go. We've played the cut here at nauseum on this show. I've played it a lot on my podcast. I can't imagine it was coincidence because of that. And I think it's your best option. Thatcher Hurd has been very good down the stretch for LSU. Again, throw out the game against Mississippi State. That's the one-off. The sample size continues to grow, and you've seen him do it in multiple different ways. You've seen him long relief, the game against Georgia. You've seen him start a couple midweeks, and then the dominance that he was against South Carolina, where he was perfect through the first 4 innings, and you've seen him come in and close games dominantly as well, where he gets 5 up, 5 down against Alabama to close that game out, 3 up, 3 down against Auburn to close that game out. So there's plenty of different roles you have him available in. For me right now, starting. And look, if you get out to a huge lead, you can make a decision after that. But he looked incredibly comfortable against South Carolina back in that starting role. Can he go do it now against Tulane? I think that's a great spot. Then you have Paul Skeens. And like we said in the first segment, he's going to face the winner, in this scenario, would face the winner of Oregon State, Sam Houston State, which neither of those two teams have seen him. And both of those teams should be forced to throw their number one in that game because of the talent level. Like, Sam Houston's going to. They're facing Oregon State. Oregon State, with the potency of that Sam Houston State lineup, could be in that same boat. So you'd have Paul Skeens going against the number 2 of somebody else. And then you have Ty Floyd there for Sunday. Ty Floyd, as we mentioned, has been awesome down the stretch. The confidence that he has is kind of similar to what you've seen from Thatcher Hurd, right? That's been the biggest difference between those two. That they're not walking guys, they're throwing strikes. But the confidence that they have out there on the mound. They're attacking of the strike zone. They're not letting the game come to them. They're going to get the game. And that's ultimately what you've wanted to see from them a lot. You're starting to see it. I feel more comfortable with Ty Floyd, though, in that situation right now than Thatcher Hurd in a championship game. Like, to pitch you to win a championship, I feel more confident in Ty Floyd right now in that spot just because of the consistency we've seen him in that starter role. He's really grown into that role. That's the whole question, right? Where has been bandied about this postseason about would Jay Johnson move Ty Floyd out of a starting role into the bullpen. It was Leah Vann from The Advocate who did the research, wrote the article about it and everything, and it's becoming a big talking point. It makes sense. Like, the way Jay Johnson used it makes sense. For me, it doesn't make sense for it to be Ty Floyd. It would make sense for it to be a Thatcher Hurd. For me, because you've seen him go through so many different roles right now out of the pen. Closer, long relief, and starter. He's that guy for me that eats you innings. And I think the best role for him this week to eat those innings is in a start against Tulane. And then you would have Javen Coleman potentially for a winner-take-all scenario where, look, by that point, you'd have to go throw, you'd have to throw a lot of guys anyway in that spot. You're going to be down pretty thin regardless, really, there normally. But the reason I like that one best is I like what I've seen from Hurd. I love Ty Floyd in a championship position. I think that Hurd, Skeens, Floyd gives you the most likely opportunity to sweep through this regional. And that's the goal. You want to win it in 3 games. You don't want to have to play any more than you need to, because that's when you start to tax a pitching staff, and that's ultimately not what you want. I think this gives you the best opportunity to win it in 3 games if you go Hurd, Skeens, Floyd. So we'll see. Again, I have a hard time believing it was coincidence that they set it up in the SEC tournament that way. Maybe I'll be wrong. We'll get our answer on Friday at 2 p.m. Central. We'll be hanging out right here. I'll be filling in for Scone, so we'll be talking plenty about the game if you're around. I know many of y'all obviously are going to want to watch the game, and that's why doing the show head up against the game is so tough because of that. But we'll be here, and we will be talking through it, and we'll get our answer as to who on the mound. But if you're going to ask me, that's what I'm going to give you. I'm going to give you Thatcher Hurd. I'm going to give you Paul Skeens. I'm going to give you Ty Floyd, and I would imagine it's going to be something similar of that. The thing that would absolutely floor me is if they run Paul Skeens out there Friday against Tulane. And that would be something I would 100% not be in favor of. But I just don't think that's what you're going to see. For me, Hurd, Skeens, Floyd. Let's grab a break. Come back on the other side. We'll finally talk black and gold. The Saints, they were back on the practice field. Day number 4 of OTAs. A couple standouts. The absent list, little longer. DA spoke after as well. We'll tell you about all of it when we return on a Tuesday edition of After Further Review.
AFR.
AFR is brought to you by River City's 1 Hour Air, where they're always on time or you don't pay a dime. Give them a buzz today, 752-0001, 752-0001, or 1hourbr.com. Tell you every day to look for the big yellow vans and trucks with a giant clock on the side. You can't miss them, and you'll see a technician that's expertly trained, ready to treat you right. Like they did for Regina Bornslater, who sent this 5-star review, said, the air conditioner vent in my room had not been blowing air in 2 years. River City's 1 Hour came out, adjusted something. I got air in my room that day. I'm so thankful. They did a great job. I appreciate River City's 1 Hour Air. Another 5-star Google review for River City's 1 Hour Air. 752-0001, 752-0001, or 1hourbr.com. You can get the preseason AC tune-up. If your AC is not keeping up, call River City's 1 Hour Air. Nights, holidays, weekends, they'll never charge you extra to come out. 752-0001.
The world's leaders in obesity research, obesity medicine, and obesity science are right here.
We're doing something that no one's ever done, or trying to answer a question that no one's ever asked before.
Pennington is a real jewel when it comes to research.
We are finding the solutions to the world's worst chronic disease, which is obesity. Louisiana needs Pennington Biomedical.
There it is, the extra mile, on the border of expected and extraordinary, for those willing to go further, like vans customized for work or play, with safety and tech to keep you connected. Supported by a 5-star sales, service, and finance team, and backed by the 1-star you know. So go the extra mile. It's never crowded, because so few have what it takes to go there. Mercedes-Benz Vans.
I've been doing business with Luba for 25 years. They're dependable, trustworthy. It's just the attention to detail with our clients.
Our folks have years and years of experience. They're highly trained professionals, but many companies have that asset. What I'd like to think makes Luba a bit different is that we use those talents in a way that truly is dedicated to serving the needs of the folks who depend on us.
Gulf Coast Office Products is a nationally recognized Savin office equipment dealer based right here in Louisiana. Over 100 employees strong, Gulf Coast has the boots on the ground to support all vertical markets, from education, engineering, legal, and finance. With the latest in office technology, from desktop to production segment units, Gulf Coast and Savin have the perfect fit for you. Call 225-756-2644. That's 756-2644 for Gulf Coast Office Products.
Gulf Coast Bank and Trust is giving our customers the power to bank anywhere, anytime during this challenging event. And we're right there with you. Our mobile banking app is a smart way to manage your money and time. Gulf Coast Bank and Trust, the bank that cares about you.
Hey there, little buddy. What's the matter?
What's the matter? My windows, siding, and my door. That's what's the matter.
Relief Windows can fix all of that. I got you. Pop, pop. What's up?
Oh my gosh, look!
Curb appeal. That's a good-looking neighborhood. ReliefWindows.com.
After further review with Matt Moscona, ESPN Baton Rouge, New Orleans, Alexandria.
Remind you about Michelli Weighing and Measurement, Michelli.com with 30 offices across 11 different states. If you weigh or measure something, Michelli sells, services, rents the products used to weigh and measure. No matter where you are, you can ship your precision measurement devices to Michelli, and they'll calibrate them for you, send them back, or they'll just come to your office, pick them up, and bring them back. They can also do on-site calibration. If you have equipment that can't leave or you don't want it to leave, they can come do on-site calibrations as well with their mobile calibration labs. It's Michelli Weighing and Measurement, online at Michelli.com. Louisiana-born, Louisiana-owned and operated for 76 years. They've continued to grow, expand their footprint while maintaining that local ownership, local feel, handshake deals, face-to-face sales. It's Michelli Weighing and Measurement. They're also hiring. Check out the careers tab at Michelli.com. Again, online at Michelli.com, Michelli.com.
New Orleans Saints back on the practice field down there in Metairie today, day number 4 of organized team activities. Dennis Allen, after the day, gave his thoughts on day number 4. How'd they look?
Look good to get everybody back out here again. After Memorial Day, get back out here and go to work. Felt like we practiced like a team that's been off for 4 days. So there's a lot of things that we got to get cleaned up, but we'll have another opportunity to get out here tomorrow, clean some things up, get better. So,
look, to be expected, I would imagine. OTAs, they're something. We'll just say that. And now you're coming off a Memorial Day weekend. They're not going to go out there and look like a well-oiled machine that's going to be ready to win the Super Bowl. There's going to be some things you need corrected. It's also day 4 of it after 4 days off. So there were some things they needed to correct, some things he wants cleaned up. Well, good news is you have tomorrow, you have Thursday, and then you have 4 days next week to wrap it up, and then you're into rookie mini camp. What is interesting is There were some returners today for OTAs, and there were some noticeable absences. Probably the best sign, Demario Davis was back. He was not out there for the first media availability last week. Demario Davis out there again. Look, he's been great for the New Orleans Saints. We know that. It's fantastic to see him back out there. JT Gray, special teams stalwart, special teams ace, JT Gray, also practiced. He was not seen in the media availability last week as well. Other than that, though, you had a lot of absences. You go down any of the lists from the media that were there, whether it's Mike Triplett, Sean Fazan, Kat Terrell, any of the ones we have on the show here. You go down their Twitters, they give you the list of who's aren't there. I mean, you're looking at them being without Tyrann Mathieu today, Paulson Adebo, Roby, Lonnie Johnson was not there. Traquan Smith, defensive tackle Nathan Shepard. Those were new absences, and there were still no Michael Thomas, but there's not going to be, obviously, until training camp. No Alvin Kamara, no Taysom Hill, no Marshawn Lattimore, no Ramchick, no Hurst, no Pete, and Nick Saldivari, easy for you to say, the rookie the offensive lineman, still not there either. You were really thin in the secondary today. Alontae Taylor and Isaac Yiadom started at outside corner. Multiple Saints media who were there did note that you saw Taylor shift inside a little bit to the slot as well today. But the one real standout everybody noted was Rashid Shaheed. And I'm fired up about this. So there's been so much talk about the Saints receivers, right? Are they good enough at that spot? Are they deep enough? Where does their wide receiver room rank? I think it has a chance to be really, really good. And I kind of think Rashid Shaheed's the key to that. And you might say, huh? Rashid Shaheed, the key? Chris Olave was almost the offensive rookie of the year last year. He had a great go of it. They're getting Michael Thomas back. Rashid Shaheed? Yeah, Rashid Shaheed. I know last week on the show, we talked a little Rashid Shaheed, and we played like his first touch in the Saints uniform. It was the 44-yard jet sweep against the Bengals, and it was awesome. And after that game, man, it was all really right in the game. And after, so who's that guy? Why aren't they giving the ball to 89 anymore? Let's see more Rashid Shaheed, right? And the next game after that, they went on the road to Arizona, and he only had one more touch. He had two touches in his first two games where he actually played offense. He played 12 games, the other one was special teams. The two where he actually played offense, he had two touchdowns on two touches. Give him the ball more. Dennis Allen was being asked about it. Everyone here, we're talking about it. Why is Rashid Shaheed not touching the ball more? 2 touches, 2 touchdowns. Guy's incredible. So out of the 12 games he played last year, 11 of them he actually played offense and got touches in. In the first 5, he had 7 touches. In the first 5, 7 touches. Over the last 6 games, when they got him more acclimated into the offense, when they became more comfortable, when he proved that he could handle more of the workload, his touches more than quadrupled. 7 touches in his first 5 games where he actually played offense. He ended up with 32 touches on the year. It quadrupled, more than quadrupled over the stretch. You look at 95 yards receiving against the Falcons with a touchdown. 4 targets, 3 receptions. Good day at the office. Against the Eagles, 6 targets, 6 receptions, 79 yards, and a long of 58. That's what he brings, right? You're looking to replace Deontay Hardy. Rashid Shaheed brings that big play ability, that explosiveness. And I said, he was the one standout you kept seeing mentioned today out of OTAs. He had a one-handed grab in 7-on-7, and then in 11-on-11, had a touchdown from Derek Carr, got behind the defense, had the big play that we just talked about. I think he's the key in multiple different ways. let's be honest. You don't know what you're getting from Michael Thomas. You just don't until you see it. And look, it looked pretty good for 2 games last year before he got hurt again. You don't know what you're going to get out of him. Mickey Loomis, Dennis Allen, Derek Carr, all of them, Pete Carmichael, they can all tell you Michael Thomas can come be the guy he was that had well over 100 receptions, that led the NFL in receptions. He can be that guy again. We don't know that until you actually see it. There's no guarantee he's going to stay healthy through the entire season. There's just not. It's the NFL. Injuries happen. So if that's the case, you feel great about having Chris Olave. Can Rashid Shaheed step up and actually be that solid number 2 for the New Orleans Saints? I think it's possible. You saw him gain a bigger role in the offense last year down the stretch. We just told you about it. He's standing out here already in OTAs above the crowd again here in his sophomore, in his quote-unquote sophomore season. And then there's the other half of it. What if Michael Thomas is great again? And you have Thomas and Olave as your 1-2 in some order, and Rashid Shaheed can be that number 3, that reliable number 3, and take the top off. That's why I say I think he's the key to the Saints' offense and to the Saints' the passing offense, and the receivers really taking hold and taking that next step. You don't have, Jarvis Landry coming back. We thought on paper it was real good last year. Ultimately, injuries cost you, but it allowed for Rashid Shaheed to step up down the stretch, and now he looks poised to take on a big role in 2023 for the New Orleans Saints, and I think a very, very key role when you look at wide receivers in the passing game, because you don't know what you're going to get from Michael Thomas. You know Olave is going to be good. Who's that number 3? Or maybe even that number 2, and could it be Rashid Shaheed? You add Juwan Johnson in there in the passing game as a tight end. You like your weapons on the outside if you're the New Orleans Saints, and you like them an awful lot with a veteran quarterback throwing the ball to them. Just something to file away there. Rashid Shaheed stand out at OTAs today for the New Orleans Saints. We're going to grab a break, come back on the other side, wrap up hour number 2 with Tigers in the pros. I'll get to a mock draft, MLB mock draft that's going to ruffle some feathers. We'll do that at the top of the 5 o'clock hour. Stay here. Close out hour number 2 of AFR next.
AFR.
Buying or selling commercial or residential, call Darren James and get your home sold. A lot of people think, you know what? I'm just going to do the for sale by owner route. Save the commissions. Well, a couple things. Number one, commissions are negotiable. If you're not aware of that, no matter who you hire to be your realtor, commissions are negotiable. So negotiate commissions. Darren encourages that, by the way. Also, 73%, nearly 3 out of 4 people that list their home for sale by owner end up hiring a realtor for a variety of reasons. Maybe it's not exactly sure how to price your home. Maybe you just can't be home for the showings at all times. That's why you got to hire Darren James. On the Wall Street Journal's list of the top 1% of realtors in America. Why would you hire anyone other than the best? You wouldn't. 335-7666 or agent225.com.
Think real estate, think Darren James.
Relentless reporting gets results.
I'm never going to stop until we get the answers you need.
Uncovering more as the powerful try to cover things up.
What happens in the dark will always come to light.
Founding new principles and practices for the state of Louisiana.
Chief Investigative Reporter Chris Nakamoto.
Chris Nakamoto and the Investigative Unit. Recipients of Columbia University's prestigious DuPont Award.
Bayou Chrysler Dodge Jeep Ram has $20,000 off new 22 Ram 1500 SCA trucks and incredible deals on all remaining 2022 inventory, all with Bayou's 1 million mile warranty. The crew at Bayou Automotive is going to do right by you.
The importance of doing this fortified program and offering it to people down here is, number one, the only real chance you're going to get to do this is when you put on a new roof or build new. And through companies like HUDCO, who's kind of leading the way in this thing, it's going to offer the customers a huge advantage in the insurance market and the price of their insurance.
You know, we're not looking to make a fortune off fortifying. We're trying to give you a better product than our competitor at the moment. I'm trying to do something that he can. I'm trying to give you something better. So a lot of these insurance shops, You're getting a re-roof. You're only paying your deductible. Let's sit down and talk about the fortified and let's see what it does to your insurance premium. You're getting a steal.
Yeah.
You're getting a brand new roof and a fortified certificate for your deductible, essentially. I think we're rocking and rolling.
Hey, what's up, y'all? It's that time again. It's heating up. Your boat's getting ready to come out and spend all summer on the water. It's time to take your boat to the next level with front-to-back boat service, where if you want an incredible custom speaker install, it's going to blow people away in the water, that's there for you. You want an HD sonar where you can see the fish under the water before you cast, beat all your friends, that's there for you at front-to-back boat service. So don't put it off. We got the parts in right now. Get them now before they go back on back order. Front-to-back boat service.
When is a taco more than just a taco? When it's Government Taco. Voted best tacos 3 years in a row by 225 Magazine, Government Taco puts the most delicious spin on tacos the capital area has ever seen. With creative combinations like the Magna Carrot, the Filibuster, or the Steak of the Union. Plus perfect tortilla chips paired with the best salsa and queso you've ever had. And happy hour every day from 3 to 6 p.m. and all day on Thursday. Government Taco, 5621 Government Street.
All right, let's say ah.
Where'd my spotlight go?
Super weird.
After further review with Matt Moscona, ESPN Baton Rouge, New Orleans, Alexandria.
All right, back here on After Further Review, Musso filling in for Scone. Wrapping up hour number 2 here on a Tuesday. We will do so with Tigers in the Pros.
Tigers in the Pros. They still bleed purple and gold. They're just really rich now. Presented by Lee Michaels Fine Jewelry. Lee Michaels Fine Jewelry, where Baton Rouge gets engaged.
We're going to start with Joey B. Another update on the contract. Played you a cut a few weeks ago from Joe himself, mentioning that he's made it clear what he wants in the deal and that they will get it done. Now we have Bengals upper management saying, quote, it will be sizable. So there's always been a lot of question with Joe. Does he take the more of the team-friendly deal in order to help re-sign Jamar Chase, in order to help re-sign T. Higgins, guys like that? Or does Joe break the bank and become the highest-paid quarterback in the NFL? Well, Bengals upper management saying it will be sizable and that he will be paid well because he has earned it. I would expect that deal done before the season. So we will keep you updated there. Major League Baseball from yesterday. DJ LeMahieu for the Yankees playing first base. 1 for 5. LeMahieu in the ball game would also come around to score. It was a single for DJ in the game. The Yankees got a big dub over the Mariners, 10-4. You hate to see it. The Astros, they fell to the Minnesota Twins. Alex Bregman in the ball game. 1 for 4, but Bregman's been hitting the ball a little bit better here as of late. Got off to a very slow start this year. Was kind of floating around the Mendoza line here and there. Now up to 235 with the 1 for 4 yesterday. Also a single, did strike out in the game as well. How about Cade Doughty? Listen to these stats from Cade Doughty on Sunday. So Sunday, the Vancouver Canadians, they played a doubleheader with the Spokane Indians. In game number 1, Cade Doughty was 3 for 5 with a double, 2 runs scored, 6 RBI. Just torched the baseball. Also had a home run in that game as well. So 3 for 5, double, homer, 6 RBI, 2 runs scored. He wasn't done. Game number 2 of the doubleheader. Cade Doughty, 3 for 4. Double, run scored, 6 hits, 6 for 9, Doughty, over the course of a doubleheader. 2 doubles, a homer, 6 driven in, and 3 run scores. That'll get it done. And he needed it as well. Kind of hovering around that Mendoza line. Now up to 246 on the season is Cade Doty. Doing well in high A baseball for the former Tiger. And look, quite honestly, you love to see that. That is Tigers in the Pros. It's brought to you by Lee Michaels Fine Jewelry. LMFJ.com for more information. Gift in the little red box. A lot of occasions, birthdays, anniversaries. Just because. Get them the gift in the little red box. Go to Lee Michaels Fine Jewelry, LMFJ.com. Grab a break. Come back on the other side. Look, all the focus when it comes to LSU baseball, obviously on the regional, the NCAA tournament. They're trying to make a run to Omaha. But what lurks around the corner? Well, that is the MLB draft. Kylie McDaniel, his first mock draft 1.0, dropped this morning at 7 a.m. You're going to want to hear this. We're going through Kylie McDaniel's first mock draft when we come back on the other side of the break here. Sports Center, then mock draft on AFR. Talk some LSU CBS as well next.
AFR.
Always a pleasure to tell you about our friends at the Williamson Eye Center. Check them out online at williamsoneye.com. They've got locations all over the greater Baton Rouge area. On the Baton Rouge General Campus, you turn off a Bluebonnet onto Picardy, you make that right. And then right there at the stop sign, the building on the right, the first two floors, that's the Williamson Eye Center. State-of-the-art dry eye center, and it's full service. Of course, they have their state-of-the-art surgery center there where you can have your LASIK or whatever surgical procedure you're having. But they have your standard annual eye exam as well at the Williamson Eye Center. Learn more at williamsoneye.com. The thing I tell you every day is take the advice that I was given and change your life. To give yourself the gift of sight is absolutely incredible. If you're someone like me who spent your life with contacts or glasses, there is a way to be done with it forever. williamsoneye.com. Go see Dr. Blake Williamson for that free consultation. 924-2020, 924-2020, or williamsoneye.com for the Williamson Eye Center.
Hello, Samantha, dear, I hope you're feeling fine. And it won't be long until I'm with you all the time. But until then, I spend my money up right down on my last dime. Come home, live Baton Rouge. I'm ready, what you put me on through. Gotta send my love down to
There it is, the extra mile, on the border of expected and extraordinary for those willing to go further, like vans customized for work or play, with safety and tech to keep you connected, supported by a 5-star sales, service, and finance team, and backed by the 1-star you know. So go the extra mile. It's never crowded, because so few have what it takes to go there. Mercedes-Benz Vans.
I've been doing business with Luba for 25 years. They're dependable, trustworthy. It's just the attention to detail with our clients.
Our folks have years and years of experience. They're highly trained professionals, but many companies have that asset. What I'd like to think makes Luba a bit different is that we use those talents in a way that truly is dedicated to serving the needs of the folks who depend on us.
Gulf Coast Office Products is a nationally recognized Savin office equipment dealer based right here in Louisiana. Over 100 employees strong, Gulf Coast has the boots on the ground to support all vertical markets, from education, engineering, legal, and finance. With the latest in office technology, from desktop to production segment units, Gulf Coast and Savin have the perfect fit for you. Call 225-756-2644. That's 756-2644 for Gulf Coast Office Products.
Hey there, little buddy. What's the matter?
What's the matter? My windows, siding, and my door. That's what's the matter.
Relief Windows can fix all that. I got you. Pop, pop. What's up?
Oh my gosh, look!
Curb appeal. That's a good-looking neighborhood. ReliefWindows.com.
Hey, what's up, y'all? It's that time again. It's heating up. Your boat's getting ready to come out and spend all summer on the water. It's time to take your boat to the next level with front-to-back boat service, where if you want an incredible custom speaker install, it's going to blow people away in the water, that's there for you. You want an HD sonar where you can see the fish under the water before you cast, beat all your friends, that's there for you at front-to-back boat service. So don't put it off. We got the parts in right now. Get them now before they go back on back order. Front-to-back boat service.
This is SportsCenter.
I'm Christine Lisi. Bob Myers, the man who helped transform the Warriors into an NBA dynasty, is stepping down as the team's president and GM. Said there were several factors beyond money in his decision-making process. The 48-year-old also said he's unsure of his future professional pathway. There was one trait in particular that made Myers so unique in his roles during a decade-plus tenure at Golden State, explains ESPN NBA insider Adrian Wojnarowski.
His ability to problem solve, his ability to operate within the egos of coaches and star players and egos of ownership and keep everybody together, keep groups together. Listen, they brought Kevin Durant in, Kevin Durant left, they won 2 titles, and that dynasty continued.
Catcher Gary Sanchez activated on the Padres roster in advance of tonight's game against the Marlins. He's in the lineup and batting 7th. San Diego claimed him off waivers yesterday. Dodgers first baseman Freddie Freeman, minus 152 odds by Caesars to extend MLB's longest active hitting streak to 19 tonight against the Nationals, 10:10 Eastern, ESPN+.
ESPN Radio is presented by Progressive Insurance. Progressive can help you protect your home, auto, boat, motorcycle, ATV, and RV, and more. And if something wasn't mentioned that you had in mind, find out if it can be covered at Progressive.com or 1-800-PROGRESSIVE, because it probably can be.
Matt Moscona.
I'm very important.
After further review.
Say it one more time.
After further review with Matt Moscona.
And here we go.
ESPN Baton Rouge, New Orleans, Alexandria. Live from the Mercedes-Benz of Baton Rouge studios.
That's right.
Hour number 3 of After Further Review. Musso filling in for Moscona. Moscona is back on Monday. I'll be here with you all week. He's soaking up some rays, having some fun in the sun. A little family vacay to the beach. So Moscona will be back on Monday, ready to catch up, ready to talk everything that he missed while he was out. Grant Lanero, Paul O'Neill along for the ride here as well. Great 2 hours in the books. 1 more hour to go, and there's still a lot that we need to get to. We've talked, obviously, a lot of LSU baseball so far. Went through their draw in the regional. Talked about how they might set their pitching up this weekend when they open up with Tulane at 2 p.m. on Friday. Talked a little bit of Saints OTAs. Jacob Hester checked in from Destin in the SEC spring meeting. So we've done a lot. I want to start this hour with baseball as well, but a different spin, right? Look, we all know what's ahead. Postseason. You need 5 wins, and you're in Omaha. That's of the utmost importance right now. But what looms in July is the Major League Baseball draft. And LSU has, as they always do, a very keen interest in the Major League Baseball draft for current players on the roster and obviously your high school recruits as well. Kylie McDaniel, draft expert at ESPN, this morning, 7 a.m. sharp, released mock draft 1.0, his first mock draft. Now, look, we've gone through a couple of Kylie's prospect rankings. We've Matt had him on the show not too long ago, actually, to talk draft and get the preview and everything, and it keeps creeping closer, so you got to pay attention to it. This mock that McDaniel went through is full first round as well as comp round A. So full first round and then competitive balance round A. It is 39 picks, the first 39 picks in the draft. And as you might imagine, heavy LSU flavor. Number 1 overall, Kylie McDaniel has the Pittsburgh Pirates taking a center fielder named Max Clark from Franklin Community High School. Now, before everybody goes and gets their pitchforks and flame and torches and y'all go after Kylie McDaniel, the very first line of the write-up says, quote, "Now I still think Cruz at number 1 is the most likely option." And he talks about how his previous mini mock outlined how he thinks that would go. Cruz, Skeens, Langford, Wyatt Langford from Florida, Walker Jenkins, and then Max Clark. But he wanted to use this mock to outline another scenario, what he calls the second most likely outcome. And that has Max Clark going number 1, a high school center fielder, to the Pittsburgh Pirates. For what it's worth, McDaniel notes the Clark rumor has been gaining steam, for weeks. And it was the first thing a number of scouts mentioned to him when he was at the ACC tournament this past week. So why? Why would the Pirates pass on Dylan Cruz? Why would they do that? Kylie McDaniel lays it out as money. And where they have him on their board. It's what we talk about all the time, y'all. The Major League Baseball draft is cuckoo. It's just different. You have the slot values for each pick in the first 10 rounds. And teams maneuver money. We know. Like, we've seen it a lot. Where you think you're out of the woods with a high school guy and he's going to make it to campus. And then later in the draft, because they were able to sign somebody under slot, bam, they throw money at him. And now he's off to the Major League Baseball and not coming to campus. Or the same thing, Paul Gervais is a great example of this last year, where Paul Gervais is drafted, I believe, in the 11th or 12th round by the Mets. He announces that he's coming back to school, and the Mets are able to sign somebody under slot, give him money, and now he's dominating with the Brooklyn Cyclones, and Matt dances like a fool whenever we talk about that Tigers in the pros. We see it happen, and that's what this would be. Clark, it's not that Clark is ranked higher than Dylan Cruz on their board. That's highly unlikely. Highly unlikely. But if they have them similar and you can get him for cheaper and save, and it's not because Cruz wouldn't sign and go back to LSU. That's not what it is. It's if you could get him cheaper, save money, and have it for another pick that you need it for later, where you need to go over slot for somebody else on your board and you know that, that's where this becomes a possibility. Or as Kylie McDaniel puts it, the second most likely option. That's long what I've thought would be what would knock Dylan Cruz down. It was never Wyatt Langford. And that's not a knock on Wyatt Langford. He's great. He's going to play Major League Baseball. But Dylan Cruz is the best college prospect out there, regardless of position. And that wasn't going to change this year, barring him getting hurt. The only thing I always thought that could knock him down is if there's a high school guy that either, one, explodes onto the scene and you just can't pass him up, or two, there's a guy that's comparable already at the high school level that you can get under slot, save money for later in the draft. That's what this scenario is. Now, how does it impact the rest of the draft? Well, for Dylan Cruz, not very much. In the mock, Dylan Cruz is number 2 overall to the Washington Nationals, which I think it would make a lot of sense. Dylan Cruz is not getting past number 2. It's just everybody always thought it'd be Cruz Skeens or Skeens Cruz. The interesting thing that McDaniel notes in his mock and his write-ups is with the Nationals, they have an interest in Max Clark, but it's just been widely believed that their board is Cruz at 1, Skeens at 2, and they love both players and they can't lose. Like that, right? Okay, wow. The Pirates took Max Clark. We get Dylan Cruz. Great. Oh, the Pirates took Dylan Cruz. We get Paul Skeens, and he'll probably be up in the major leagues in 10 months, throwing gas in their rotation. The Nationals, they sit pretty in this regardless. Like, because they love both LSU guys, and they're going to get one of them. Like, they're going to get one of them. The other interesting part about it is Paul Skeens. What happens to Paul Skeens? Detroit has the number 3 pick. And Detroit has really enjoyed actually taking SEC arms. I mean, you look at Alex Lang, Zach Hess, Casey Mize from Auburn. Like, Detroit has enjoyed taking LSU, LSU, obviously, yes, but SEC arms. But Wyatt Langford is mocked there to Detroit. Okay, what about the Texas Rangers? They took Kumar Rocker. They took Jack Leiter. They like taking SEC arms as well. Yeah, nope. That's Walker Jenkins, a high school outfielder, 4th overall to the Rangers. You find Paul Skeens at number 5 in this mock draft to the Minnesota Twins. And Kyler McDaniel, when talking about it, he mentioned that the response he got when kind of throwing this scenario out to scouts and people he trusts is they, being the Minnesota Twins, might not just be so gung-ho to take Paul Skeens in that spot. Kyler McDaniel notes that he had 2 sources confidently tell him that he trusts the Twins would take Jacob Gonzalez over Skeens due to a hitter preference in their draft. Now, McDaniel said, although he trusts those scouts, he doesn't see the Twins actually passing on Paul Skeens if he falls there. That again tells you many aren't expecting this scenario to play. Like, it's still expected to go Cruz Skeens, I think, in most circles. But in this scenario, which could be the second most likely to play out, does Skeens drop to 5 and do the Twins pull the trigger on him? If they don't, I mean, I think the next obvious spot would probably be the Cincinnati Reds at 7, because that's where the next pitcher comes off the board in this mock draft. And the Reds need really any help they can get, pitching or hitting. So just something to keep an eye on. Don't go crush Kyler McDaniel, because he threw out the caveat that he still thinks Dylan Cruz goes number 1. And in that scenario, Paul Skeens would follow at number 2. But maybe, just maybe, it's not as cut and dry as we all thought a few weeks ago. The last thing to mention here is LSU signees. There's only one off the board in this mock draft in the 39 picks, and it's Blake Mitchell, the catcher out of Texas. Look, he is in every first-round mock draft. It is a position of great depth at LSU right now. It makes a lot of sense that Blake Mitchell signs a pro contract. Just because, I mean, look, you probably don't have, you won't have Milazzo back next year, but you'll still have Brady Neal. You'll have Jared Jones. You'll have Hayden Travinski, most likely, unless somebody takes a flyer on him and is able to give him a little bit more than a number that he was thinking of in the draft. I mean, he's definitely raised his stock, I would imagine, over the last month and a half of the season. But that's 3 catchers right there. Ethan Fry can also catch, but Jay Johnson's been pretty adamant that his future is going to be somewhere else other than that. But, I mean, if you go into next year with Brady Neal, Hayden Travinski as your 1 and 2, and Jared Jones as your emergency catcher who can also play first base, there's not a lot of room for another high school catcher to really join your staff, especially one who's projected in the first round. So it would make a lot of sense that Blake Mitchell does get drafted in the first round and does sign with a team. But crazier things have happened in the MLB draft that we know. Just wanted to bring it to your attention, plant the seeds that, while look, we all think and believe that it's going to be Cruz Skeens, there is a scenario out there that's gaining steam to where potentially, it could go a different way. Kyler McDaniel laid that out for you this morning. We'll keep you posted as you get closer to the Major League Baseball draft. We're going to grab a break. Come back on the other side. One of everyone's favorite topics, CBS broadcasting SEC football. They released their television windows today. Where's that primetime doubleheader? How many times could LSU realistically be on CBS this season? We break it down for you next here on AFR.
AFR.
Brought to you by New Orleans Flooring, online at nolaflooring.com. 2 locations, Metairie, and, of course, Airline Highway in Prairieville. If you're going south on Airline in Prairieville, you pass the Walmart, look to the right. You can't miss it. It's New Orleans Flooring. Go to nolaflooring.com, nolaflooring.com. The thing that really sets them apart, they've got amazing people. You can go see, You can go see Terrell. You can go see Big Sean. Great people there. They got everyday low prices. You can get the free in-home estimate. They got the mobile showroom. You can get inspired there on the website. It's a great resource to go to. Financing is available. But what sets them apart more than anything is they cut out the middleman. Because they have more than 1 million square foot of product in stock, they cut out the middleman, and they can give you the best price. I mean, you're talking about saving 40, 50, 60% on flooring. Go where the pros go. Go to New Orleans Flooring. That's NOLAflooring.com. 2 locations, Metairie and Prairieville, and online at NOLAflooring.com.
There it is, the extra mile, on the border of expected and extraordinary, for those willing to go further, like vans customized for work or play, with safety and tech to keep you connected. Supported by a 5-star sales, service, and finance team, and backed by the 1-star you know. So go the extra mile. It's never crowded, because so few have what it takes to go there. Mercedes-Benz Vans.
Follow us on Twitter at 1045ESPN to cast your vote in the Citizens Bank and Trust Poll of the Day. Vote daily inside Off the Bench, anytime. Hunt Palmer. And after further review, Citizens Bank and Trust brings you the Poll of the Day via Twitter at 1045ESPN.
When is a taco more than just a taco? When it's Government Taco. Voted best tacos 3 years in a row by 225 Magazine, Government Taco puts the most delicious spin on tacos the capital area has ever seen. With creative combinations like the Magna Carrot, the Filibuster, or the Steak of the Union. Plus perfect tortilla chips paired with the best salsa and queso you've ever had. And happy hour every day from 3 to 6 p.m. and all day on Thursday. Government Taco, 5621 Government Street.
Turn my music high, 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 yeah.
You don't know what you're doing.
Sure I do. I'm from the streets where the hood can swallow on me. Bullets will follow on me. There's so much that you could run the slalom. The cops comb this top to bottom. They say that we are prone to violence, but it's home sweet home. With personalities clashing, chrome meets chrome. Prices up and down like this Wall Street.
I've been doing business with Luba for 25 years. They're dependable, trustworthy. It's just the attention to detail with our clients.
Our folks have years and years of experience. They're highly trained professionals. But many companies have that asset. What I'd like to think makes Luba a bit different is that we use those talents in a way that truly is dedicated to serving the needs of the folks who depend on us.
Gulf Coast Office Products is a nationally recognized Savin office equipment dealer based right here in Louisiana. Over 100 employees strong, Gulf Coast has the boots on the ground to support all vertical markets, from education, engineering, legal, and finance. With the latest in office technology, from desktop to production segment units, Gulf Coast and Savin have the perfect fit for you. Call 225-756-2644. That's 756-2644 for Gulf Coast Office Products.
After further review with Matt Moscona, ESPN Baton Rouge, New Orleans, Alexandria.
The Aesthetic Medicine and Anti-Aging Clinics of Louisiana. 2 great locations, Bluebonnet in Baton Rouge, Ambassador Caffrey in Lafayette. I tell you every day about hormone replacement therapy. But remember, they also have medical-grade supplements. So, about a year ago when I went for my blood labs, we noticed my cholesterol was elevated a little bit. Well, I didn't need to be on cholesterol medicine. It was just one of those things where at 40 years old, they said, hey, we need to start taking a look at that. Look, why don't we try a supplement? So we tried Coritin. So I started taking Coritin as part of my daily regimen, and that, a little bit of weight loss, and my cholesterol has come back to normal, healthy levels. So things like that, catching things early and safely supplementing you to get you to healthy levels is all about maintaining a healthy body, a healthy lifestyle, a healthy body composition as well. It's at the Aesthetic Medicine and Anti-Aging Clinics of Louisiana. Bluebonnet in Baton Rouge, Ambassador Caffrey in Lafayette, and online, theantiagingclinics.com, theantiagingclinics.com.
Jimmy's going to be around here to close the show with Otter Locks in his normal spot. Just Obviously, Game Time with Jimmy Ott no longer follows us. Hanny and Ott have live at lunch now from 11 to 1, but Otter's still going to do Otter Locks with us. And he did send in an early one here. Major League Baseball, 5:40 start. Likes the Texas Rangers, minus 125 on the money line. Texas Rangers, minus 125. That gets underway 5:40. You got Martin Perez and versus Alex Faedo in that game. So the Rangers on the money line, minus $1.25 over the Detroit Tigers. Early start, 5:40. Otter will be around to close the show with us for Otter Locks in his normal spot. Today, CBS, they announced their college SEC on CBS windows. Obviously, the one thing everybody always goes to look for are the doubleheaders. And remember, you have the morning, afternoon doubleheader, and then, of course, the day-night doubleheader. The morning, afternoon doubleheader is October the 14th. The day-night doubleheader is November the 4th. That is the week of LSU Alabama, and LSU Alabama will absolutely be your primetime game. That's really all you needed to see. You go down the list of games. That's week 10 of the college football season. LSU Alabama is the elephant in the room for the primetime slot. They're going to put A&M and Ole Miss in primetime? No, they're not. Georgia, Missouri? Yeah, that's not going to happen either. Florida, Arkansas? Probably not. It's really inconsequential, the game they pick to proceed. LSU Alabama going to be your primetime game. Last couple of years, you haven't been in that spot. I think it's been great. Obviously, 2019, you were the afternoon game on CBS that week. Last year, it was a primetime game on ESPN. That's not going to happen anymore. And, y'all, it should be a great matchup. I mean, there are plenty of people saying LSU should be the favorite in the SEC West going into this season. That game is going to carry a lot. And it's very fitting that this being the last season of the SEC on CBS, it's very fitting that LSU Alabama is that last primetime game, just because it dominated that slot for so long during the Miles versus Saban era. And to have it back there now in the final year of SEC on CBS, that is poetic when, if everything goes according to plan, it should be for the SEC West like it is the majority of the years. So that's going to be what happens. You can read the writing on the wall there. Again, you look at the other games on the schedule, and none of them scream prime time because that's by design. I mean, that is the week. That is the game of the week every year in the SEC when it comes to the first weekend of November, and it should be again. Now, the other interesting part is where else might LSU land on CBS? That's something intriguing, right? Because, look, LSU, many expect them to be very, very good this year. When you're that good, you're going to play CBS a lot. They want to get you on the network. You can think back to 2019. LSU played on CBS a lot that year. Georgia last year. Georgia played on CBS a lot last year. But like LSU Alabama, there are staples every year, every week normally, where okay, CBS is going to pick up that game. So you can kind of figure it out. You can really look at it and kind of say, okay, obviously it's not going to be that week because these teams play. But it could be here. You got to pick here. You got a little pick them. Which one do they decide? You wait and see. We know week 3, that's the first CBS game. That will be South Carolina at Georgia. They have announced that. So South Carolina, Georgia is your first SEC on CBS game. After that, you look at week 4, probably not going to be LSU. Week 4, Tigers are facing Arkansas. I mean, sure, maybe, but you also have Alabama, Ole Miss. And Alabama, Ole Miss has kind of become one of those games where you just pencil it in a little bit for the CBS. And I would imagine if I have to look, week 4, September the 23rd, they're probably going to go Alabama, Ole Miss in that spot. Week 5 is interesting, though. Week 5 is an interesting spot. You have Georgia, Auburn, which makes the most sense. And if I had to guess, I'd say, obviously, they're going to go deep South's oldest rivalry. Georgia should still be ranked number 1. It'll be their second time having them. It's the rivalry game that you will see on there from time to time. But if there is one game that can supplant that, it might be LSU Ole Miss. That'd be 2 weekends in a row. They have the Rebels. But it could be LSU Ole Miss that does it. That's something to at least keep an eye on early in the season. Again, I would expect it to be Georgia Auburn, but LSU Ole Miss, it really would not surprise me. You look at week 6, that's October the 7th. I mean, that's going to be Alabama, Texas A&M. That's another one that kind of gets penciled in more often than not these last few years when it comes to CBS. Week 7, that's October the 14th. That one is a very interesting one for me. Alabama, Arkansas is that week. Tennessee, Texas A&M is that week. Those two definitely jump off the page. LSU, Auburn does too, though, for a couple reasons. Number one, they would not have had LSU potentially by this time, and LSU could still be undefeated, looking to gain steam. LSU would have Auburn, then they'd play Army, and then they'd go in the bye. It's their last SEC game before Alabama. If they're still undefeated, that's enticing. The other thing is it's in Tiger Stadium. We talk about this every year when we have this conversation. CBS always wants one game in Tiger Stadium. It was always easy when they had the streak of LSU, Bama be the prime time. That was your easy one, but they at least want one game. This could be one of them. There is one that's more likely, and we'll get to it, but this could be a spot to look for, depending on how things go. Alabama, Arkansas, what the shine is on Tennessee, Texas A&M, or then you have LSU, Auburn sitting right there. So it's an interesting spot. It's the week that I look at that I say, man, they have their toughest choice probably is week 7, October the 14th. So, again, I think you could be choosing between A&M, Tennessee, Bama, Arkansas, or LSU, Florida. That could be a CBS game in Tiger Stadium week 7. Week 8, obviously not. LSU's going to play LSU's going to play Army. I really don't care who CBS picks, even though it's going to be Alabama and Tennessee because it's the third Saturday in October. Week 9, LSU's on bye. Week 10, we already talked about LSU and Bama. This is the one where I think you absolutely get the CBS game in Tiger Stadium. And it's week 11. It's November 11th, and it's LSU, Florida. Auburn, Arkansas, that's not going to do it for you, right? Tennessee, Missouri, that's not going to do it for you. Alabama, Kentucky, probably not. Vanderbilt, South Carolina, no. Georgia, Ole Miss, maybe. But Florida, LSU really sticks out when you look at November 11th for a CBS spot. And potentially they would not have had a game in Tiger Stadium yet. They could have had LSU, Ole Miss earlier if they spurned the Deep South's oldest rivalry. They could do LSU, Auburn in Tiger Stadium, maybe. But this one just makes a lot of sense. I think regardless of what happens the rest of the year, I think LSU, Florida is 2:30 CBS November 11th in Tiger Stadium. It's their easiest way to make sure they get their game in Death Valley is that week because it really is the best matchup, and it's a rivalry on the schedule for that week. So that's something to absolutely keep in mind. Another game that they have announced that they have set in stone is the Black Friday matchup between Missouri and Arkansas at 4 p.m. We talked about that on the show not too long ago. So that's set in stone. Of course, the SEC championship is set in stone. And we know November 25th, the Saturday after Thanksgiving, is going to be the Iron Bowl. Like, that's just one of them, right? Tennessee, Florida. That's one that's just kind of penciled in as SEC on CBS games. But the ones we know for sure, South Carolina, Georgia, week 3, Missouri at Arkansas on Black Friday. Other than that, everything else kind of up for grabs with the SEC on CBS. But I would expect LSU, Bama to be in prime time. It is the game that weekend, and I think the week after that as well. LSU absolutely finds their way back on the CBS 2:30 in Tiger Stadium when they host the Florida Gators. We'll see. It'll be fun to follow all year round, right? CBS are going to sit there and do their, we'll reserve a right to choose or whatever, put it off for a week, that whole thing that they do every year. And then LSU and the SEC, they will move to ESPN. This is the last year of SEC on CBS. So savor it, I guess. I don't know. Enjoy it. Yeah, sure. And hopefully LSU plays on CBS as few amount of times as humanly possible. Grab a break. Come back on the other side. Switch gears back to the New Orleans Saints. They brought in John Gruden last week to help with install, and this was the first time we got to hear from Dennis Allen since then, and he was asked about it. We'll talk about his answer, kind of run through a few of our thoughts we had on it last week as well, and then Jimmy Otterlocks to wrap up a Tuesday edition of AFR. We got 2 more segments left. Stay here. Musso in for Moscona on After Further Review.
AFR.
Brought to you by Clegg's Nursery. So I mentioned this past Saturday we were out by the pool all day. Naturally, we had some friends come over, and you just did a pool day. And naturally, we had to have the outside looking good. So we went to Clegg's. Erica bought a whole bunch of flowers, put them in the patio pots all over the outside, some by the pool, one by the water feature on the pool, all that sort of stuff. We had to get some wasp spray and some wasp nests outside. So naturally got that, of course. Clegg's, partner of True Value Hardware Store. You get anything that you find at a True Value Hardware Store, you also get at Clegg's. We also got the mosquito barriers that I tell you about all the time. It's so easy. It's called Aeon, AION. Same product I've told you about forever, just new name. Just go to Clegg's and say, "Where's the mosquito thing Moscona talks about?" They'll know. Fill it up with water, shake it up, hang it on your property line. Done with mosquitoes for 90 days at a time. You can get it all at Clegg's Nursery. 4 locations. Buy local, shop local. Clegg's Nursery.
Gulf Coast Bank and Trust is giving our customers the power to bank anywhere, anytime during this challenging event. And we're right there with you. Our mobile banking app is a smart way to manage your money and time. Gulf Coast Bank and Trust, the bank that cares about you.
When is a taco more than just a taco? When it's Government Taco. Voted best tacos 3 years in a row by 225 Magazine, Government Taco puts the most delicious spin on tacos the capital area has ever seen. With creative combinations like the Magna Carrot, the Filibuster, or the Steak of the Union. Plus perfect tortilla chips paired with the best salsa and queso you've ever had. And happy hour every day from 3 to 6 p.m. and all day on Thursday. Government Taco, 5621 Government Street.
Hey, it's Matt Musso. Join me Monday through Friday for your daily update on LSU baseball with Musso at the Box, presented by New Orleans Flooring, wherever you get your podcast, Apple, Spotify, Google, and check out New Orleans Flooring. 2 locations, Metairie and Prairieville, or NOLAFlooring.com.
There it is, the extra mile, on the border of expected and extraordinary, for those willing to go further, like vans customized for work or play, with safety and tech to keep you connected. Supported by a 5-star sales, service, and finance team. And backed by the 1-star you know. So go the extra mile. It's never crowded, because so few have what it takes to go there. Mercedes-Benz Vans.
Electricity is all around us, and our families depend on it. Every day is
Matt Moscona, ESPN Baton Rouge, New Orleans, Alexandria.
We are just 2 days away from the start of the NBA Finals, so if you have not done it yet, what are you waiting for? Download the DraftKings Sportsbook app, an official sports betting partner of the NBA, and get in on all the NBA Finals fun. Of course, you know our friends at DraftKings, they always have a great offer for you. How about this one? NBA Finals, new customers, place a $5 bet on the NBA Finals and get $200 in bonus bets instantly. Download the DraftKings Sportsbook app. Use the promo code Baton Rouge. Again, use the promo code Baton Rouge. Make a $5 NBA Finals bet and get $200 in bonus bets instantly. Plus, all customers can take advantage of stepped-up same-game parlays. You got to opt in and get the deets at the DraftKings Sportsbook. Download the DraftKings Sportsbook. Use the promo code Baton Rouge. 21 and older, physically present in Louisiana. Select parishes only. Bonus bets expire 7 days after issuance. Opt-in and 10-plus leg required for 100% boost. Eligibility, wagering, and deposit restrictions apply. Terms at sportsbook.draftkings.com/basketball terms. Licensing partner Golden Nugget Lake Charles. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER. 1-800-426-253.
Back here on After Further Review. Yeah, go ahead. Download the DraftKings Sportsbook app. Do it right now, too, because Otter's coming up next. Not right in the next segment to close this out with Otter Locks. Gave you out one in the last segment. We'll reiterate it here. The game starts in about 4 minutes. Texas Rangers minus $1.25 on the money line versus the Detroit Tigers. Otter likes Texas in that one. Again, minus $1.25. Game goes in about 4 minutes. 5:40 first pitch there, and Otter will be along to close out the show in his normal spot. Just because he's moved back to 11-1 with Hanny live at lunch, we're still getting our Otter Locks. Still getting our Otter Locks here on AFR to close us out. All right. Before we get to that, though, let's talk about the New Orleans Saints a little bit more, because in the last hour, we talked a good bit about Rashid Shaheed being kind of the standout today at OTAs. But there was other things that have happened so far, 4 practices in for the New Orleans Saints. So much of the focus, so much of the conversation, obviously and understandably, is going to go to Derek Carr and veteran quarterback coming in, the offense, things of that nature. Last Friday, we told you about the Saints bringing in John Gruden to help with install, and how ultimately it made a lot of sense. Today was the first opportunity the New Orleans Saints media had to speak to Dennis Allen about that choice, about why they felt it necessary to bring in John Gruden to help with install, to help in offensive meetings for 3 days last week. This is what DA had to say.
Number one, we've had several coaches come and visit. Obviously, John's a guy that has a lot of experience with Derek, and Derek's had his most success under John Gruden. And so we felt like bringing him in, having a chance to sit down and visit with him as an offensive staff, with the quarterbacks, and just get some new thoughts and ideas, things that we might be able to implement. I would say this. I would say, offensively, for a long time that I've been here, we've been pretty effective offensively. And so I don't see us putting in a whole new offense or doing something dramatic. But, if there's a few ideas that we could take from that, we felt like that would be beneficial.
He's absolutely right. I mean, it is beneficial. It makes too much sense. You heard him say there, Derek Carr had his best success under John Gruden, and he did. Derek Carr has thrown for 4,000 yards or more 4 times in his career, and all 4 came under John Gruden. Why would you not bring in that guy who has a great rapport, who has a great relationship, who understands how to work and get the most out of that quarterback? Look, John Gruden's not on staff for the New Orleans Saints, but he's in there as a consultant last week to help, to understand. The Saints over and over again, Mickey Loomis, Dennis Allen, Derek Carr himself have mentioned what a fit he is and why he's a good fit with the New Orleans Saints, because there is similarity between the Saints offense and the Raiders offense. And it makes sense to have him there. John Gruden, part of that. They're going to tailor this offense to the strengths of Derek Carr. And what Dennis Allen said right there is very true. It doesn't mean they're going to implement a whole new system, because it's similar. Like, there are similarities. Plays Derek Carr likes in the Saints offense. Plays that they're just not going to remove because they've had a lot of success with him. You heard DA say there, as long as I've been here, we've been pretty good offensively. Yeah, you have. You also had a Hall of Famer quarterback. That helps. Sean Payton was an offensive genius. That helps. But there's still stuff in the offense that's going to work, and it's going to work for Derek Carr as your quarterback too, so you're not going to change that. And then there's plays that Derek Carr likes from the Raiders that they want to bring in. Okay, yeah, John Gruden's there to help you with that. It makes a lot of sense. They did the same thing with Jameis Winston last year. Jameis, plays that work in our offense, you're going to run them. Plays that you like from your time in Tampa Bay or whatever you want to install, we can do that. Plays you like in the offense, we'll move those up to the front. It's just how things go. Now, the other interesting part about this, you should say, is kind of the aura surrounding John Gruden right now with the way things ended in Vegas with the emails and the language that was in those emails, and ultimately it cost him his job. And Dennis Allen was asked, was there any backlash from bringing in John Gruden last week to help work with the offense?
No, look, I mean, I think you ask everybody that was involved, thought it was really beneficial for our football team. And look, we're gonna look at any avenue that we can to try to improve. And so that was one area that we thought just bringing him in and having an opportunity to sit down and visit with him would help us.
Think what you think about John Gruden. That's not the point of this. If Dennis Allen's going to sit there and say, though, that everybody was on board, everybody thought it was beneficial, I don't think the Saints, a team that value culture as much as they do, make a decision like that lightly. And if it was beneficial, it worked, great. The other important thing to note is he said it in that cut. He said it in the first cut. They're going to look at every avenue. This is something they do every year. This is something that happens at every level of football. They bring in coaches, former coaches, to help, to lend ideas, have them come work with guys, because it's just, you get more opportunity, more hands-on that way. There's not a negative to that. And that's what they were doing here. And look, it makes a lot of sense for all the football reasons. And I trust that the Saints did their due diligence to make sure it was not going to ruffle feathers within that building because of how much they value culture. We've all had that conversation here many, many times. And it was last week. He ain't there no more. But I think it makes a lot of sense from a Derek Carr perspective. One more thing. So in the last hour when we were talking OTAs, we mentioned some of the absences that the New Orleans Saints had. And a bulk of them were on the offensive line. No Ramchick. No Pete. No Hurst. Nick Saldivari, the rookie, still not there. That's 4 offensive linemen, and 3 of them starting offensive linemen for you last year in James Hurst, Ryan Ramchick, and Andrews Pete whenever he was healthy. Dennis Allen was asked after practice today. This is number 4, Grant. The challenge of going through OTAs, practice, down so many offensive linemen.
I look at it as an opportunity for a lot of these young guys to get experience. You know, we've got some guys that you know are going to be fighting to be linemen 7, 8, 9, 10, whatever the case may be, and so these are valuable reps for those guys. So certainly we'd love to have everybody out here healthy and good to go, but it's an opportunity for some of these guys to get some experience.
It should make you a better football team. I mean, that's what he's telling you. It should make you a better football team. You're getting reps for other guys. Look, the offensive line for the Saints, I think that's one place you feel pretty comfortable. Honestly, like, okay, yeah, wash, rinse, repeat. Even with the injuries they've suffered along that unit the last few years, whether it was Teron Armstead when he was here, whether it's been Andrews Pete, whether it's Cesar Ruiz, the Saints have had great depth along the offensive line. Like, they've been able to throw in a guy like Calvin Throckmorton and let him go to town on the offensive line. It has worked out for them very well. And now you potentially can get Trevor Penning back here. Like Dennis Allen said, because you have these injuries, you're building depth even more right now. Guys are going to be fighting for those spots come cut down time where you're going to be lineman 9, lineman 10. You can never have too many offensive linemen in the NFL. It's a spot the Saints have been very good at and very good at depth-wise. So I agree with that answer. It's, honestly, it's similar It's similar to what Brian Kelly said from an LSU standpoint after going through spring with so many injuries, that it should make us a better football team in the end, right? You've got all these guys getting meaningful reps in spots that they wouldn't normally have if people were injured. Same thing with the New Orleans Saints, whether it's injuries, whether it's just guys not showing up for a voluntary workout because they're Ryan Ramczyk and they're one of the best tackles in the game and they don't need to be there. Whatever the reason is, hopefully they're using it to their benefit. But again, the offensive line, you feel good. Whether it's James Hurst starting at left tackle for you this year, or you're finally able to work Trevor Penning into that spot, whether you have Andrews Pete at guard, you have a veteran center and Eric McCoy, Cesar Ruiz still there, and Ryan Ramczyk, and then the depth behind them, you feel good there if you're the New Orleans Saints. So would you love to have them all out there? Sure. You would love for everyone to show up for OTAs. You would love everybody to be healthy for OTAs. It's just not always the case, and they're voluntary for a reason. And now, hopefully, you use that to your advantage. Use it to your advantage, and get other guys reps to where hopefully maybe they are the ones who make the team at O lineman 9 spot, O lineman 10 spot, and who knows, you might need them. Where you're going to see some of the most injuries during the NFL season is along the offensive line, and the Saints know that all too well. We're going to grab a break, come back on the other side, close out a Tuesday edition of After Further Review. Been a great show so far today. Talked a lot of LSU baseball. We've talked a couple different topics on the SEC spring meetings happening in Destin. Jacob Hester joined us from there, and we've talked plenty of Saints as they're back on the practice field. Again, we'll wrap it up with Otter Locks next. Stay here. It's AFR.
AFR.
Love telling you about Hudco Roofing, HudcoRoofing.com. Do business with someone you know. That's us, Hudco Roofing, HudcoRoofing.com. Check us out online. I tell you all the time as well, if you want to email me directly, you can. It's Matt@HudcoRoofing.com. I'm happy to help facilitate anything that you may need. Trust me, you don't want me on your roof, but I certainly know the people within our business, our company, that you would love to have on your roof. It's Hudco Roofing. Tell you every day, do business with someone you know. The thing I got to stress, fortified roofing. With a fortified roof, you can save as much as 52% on your homeowner's insurance, depending on who your insurance provider is. As much as 52% you could save on your homeowner's insurance with a fortified roof. You got to learn more about this, y'all. We'd love to explain it to you, how you can save money, how you can protect not only your family, but your home, your belongings on the interior as well. Go to HudcoRoofing.com, click the Fortified tab. If you want to learn more, give us a shout. 364-1007, 364-1007. Or HudcoRoofing.com. Do business with someone you know, Hudco Roofing and HudcoRoofing.com.
Bayou Ford has $15,000 off plus 0.9% APR for 60 months on all new 22 Ford F-150 SCA trucks and incredible deals on all remaining 2022 inventory, all with Bayou's 1 million mile warranty. The crew at Bayou Ford is going to do right by you.
The importance of doing this Fortified program and offering it to people down here is, number one, the only real chance you're going to get to do this is when you put on a new roof or build new. And through companies like Hudco, who's kind of leading the way in this thing, it's going to offer the customers a huge advantage in the insurance market and the price of their insurance.
You know, we're not looking to make a fortune off fortifying. We're trying to give you a better product than our competitor at the moment. I'm trying to do something that he can. I'm trying to give you something better. So a lot of these insurance shops, you're getting a re-roof, you're only paying your deductible. Let's sit down and talk about the Fortified and let's see what it does to your insurance premium. You're getting a steal.
Yeah.
You're getting a brand new roof and a Fortified certificate for your deductible, essentially. I think we're rocking and rolling.
Hey there, little buddy. What's the matter?
What's the matter? My windows, siding, and my door. That's what's the matter.
Relief Windows can fix all that. I got you. Pop, pop. What's up?
Oh my gosh, look!
Curb appeal. That's a good-looking neighborhood. ReliefWindows.com.
Hey, what's up, y'all? It's that time again. It's heating up. Your boat's getting ready to come out and spend all summer on the water. It's time to take your boat to the next level with front-to-back boat service, where if you want an incredible custom speaker install, it's going to blow people away in the water, that's there for you. You want an HD sonar where you can see the fish under the water before you cast, beat all your friends, that's there for you at Front front-to-back boat service. So don't put it off. We got the parts in right now. Get him now before they go back on back order. Front-to-back boat service.
I've been doing business with Luba for 25 years. They're dependable, trustworthy. It's just the attention to detail with our clients.
Our folks have years and years of experience. They're highly trained professionals. But many companies have that asset. What I'd like to think makes Luba a bit different is that we use those talents in a way that truly is dedicated to serving the needs of the folks who depend on us.
The best kept secret in town is out. Discover Tallulah at the Renaissance Hotel on Bluebonnet.
After further review with Matt Moscona, ESPN Baton Rouge, New Orleans, Alexandria.
Back here, final segment on a Tuesday edition of After Further Review. Musso filling in for Moscona. No Jimmy Ott's Game Time following us anymore. The guys are back, Hanny and Ott, live at lunch from 11 to 1. But that doesn't mean we aren't getting our picks. We got to get our Otter Locks. Hit it, Grant. It's time for Otter Locks.
Otter Locks, presented by Lofton Staffing Services. At Lofton, we put people to work. Call us today at 924-0200 or go to lofton.jobs.
Otter, appreciate the time. How are you?
Good, Musso. What's going on, buddy?
Not much. I got to say, this is kind of a different vibe now that you're not, hosting the show right after us anymore. But we're still here for the winners. Matt's on vacation. He was kind of dogging you a little bit before he left. A little bit of negativity surrounding the Otter. I'm here to bring the positivity. I think you're going to have a great week, and I'm ready for some winners.
Well, I can tell you one thing. I'm glad the Celtics are in the rearview mirror. I mean, they are those guys are impossible to try and predict, man. I mean, they show up when they want to. They do what they want to, and they're at home because they want to, but all three of their series went way longer than they should have. They shouldn't have gone 6 with the Hawks, 7 with the Sixers, and got beat by Miami. But they did, and it's, hey, man, it's, smart basketball. It was a lot smarter for definitely a less talented roster. So, I mean, they were more mentally. Think about what they had to get back up the floor for after that horrible loss in Game 6. I mean, we talk about the mental strength of the Miami Heat, and it comes to their leadership with Pat Riley and Spoelstra and Jimmy Butler, and that's a big thing to get back up off the mat. After floor by that, a lot of teams couldn't do it, but they did it, and it was. I never thought we'd see a Miami blowout, but it was. So congratulations to the Heat. My 20-1 shot still to win it all is in play. But, I mean, Denver's a big favorite. It's not the best hedge opportunity. You can, but it's not the best. Hey, Musso, these lines and these baseball regionals and individual games are on the move, to say the least. The LSU Regional opened up minus $1.50. It's up to minus $1.90 to win their regional. I like the Florida Regional, the Gainesville Regional. They were minus $1.40. They're up to minus $1.75. And the Nashville Regional was minus 15. They're up to minus 50. Try and parlay them. Some sites allow you to do it. Some don't. But I would put them in some kind of parlay if you could. So that's going on right now. How about the LSU individual line as well on Saturday afternoon? It opened up minus 370. It's 550 at DraftKings. It's minus 670 at Bet Rivers. So tough to play that one in the first one. So anyway, let's get to tonight's Major League Baseball. We gave you on Texas earlier. We're going to the Mets, man. Like the Mets, the modest price of minus $1.50. Great pitching matchup for the Mets here. Kodai Senga is really good. He had a rough first inning. That was that afternoon game where Jake Fraley started things off against Senga. But it was. They gave up 5 in the first, but didn't give up any more. It kind of affected his overall ERA. On the other hand, Ranger Suarez has been a disaster. He's given up more earned runs than innings pitched this year. It's been tough for the Philadelphia left-hander. Mets minus 50 at home tonight in that one. Bounce back spot tonight for the Atlanta Braves.
30 seconds.
Strider might be the Cy Young leader in the National League, but right behind it was Elder minus the run line on the Braves in that one. And we're going to bounce back also with Baltimore at home against Cleveland after getting shut out yesterday.
All right, Otter, we appreciate it. Y'all tune in live at lunch with Hanny and Ott, 11 to 1. We'll do it again tomorrow, Otter.
Thank you, Musso.
Absolutely. That is Jimmy Ott. That's going to do it for us. Thank you to Grant. Thank you to Paul. I'm Musso in for Moscona. We'll be back tomorrow.
AFR.
Let me remind you about Relief Windows, reliefwindows.com, reliefwindows.com. You know, I've talked about Relief Windows now here since 2015, and I love endorsing them and telling you about how great a company they are and great people that Brandon and Adrian Holly are, and every single measure tech and installer that may come to your house, how you can trust them and how they do exceptional work, how they've done work in my house. One thing we never talk about is price. And you know, with Relief Windows, they of course sell a premium product and they do a premium service and a premium job, and it's awesome. But they do offer discounts as well. So I would always encourage you, when you call Relief Windows to ask about those discounts. Like, for example, if you buy an entry door and windows at the same time, they'll give you a 10% discount. So there's a lot of those things that are there as well. So I would always recommend, when you give Relief Windows a call, ask them. It's always worth giving them a shout at Relief Windows. 288-8138, 288-8138 for Relief Windows and reliefwindows.com.
I've been doing business with Luba for 25 years. They're dependable, trustworthy. It's just the attention to detail with our clients.
Our folks have years and years of experience. They're highly trained professionals, but many companies have that asset. What I'd like to think makes Luba a bit different is that we use those talents in a way that truly is dedicated to serving the needs of the folks who depend on us.
Bayou Chrysler Dodge Jeep Ram has $20,000 off new 22 Ram 1500 SCA trucks and incredible deals on all remaining 2022 inventory, all with Bayou's 1 million mile warranty. The crew at Bayou Automotive is going to do right by you.
Hello, Samantha, dear, I hope you're feeling fine. And it won't be long until I'm with you all the time. But until then, I spend my